Fox Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Well, headlines and a lot out of them in Green Bay this week with Mike McCarthy. His tenure in his 13th year as head coach is over. Fired after Sunday's loss to Arizona. Didn't stop there. The next day, they also parted ways with assistant coach Winston Moss. So he gone as well, and that means that Joe Philbin, who has been here as the offensive coordinator, will be the interim coach for the remainder of the year. And I'm sure he'd love to be the head coach next year, but that remains to be seen. Just trying to get the Packers to play better football. They've lost 5 of 6. The Falcons have lost 4 in a row after they were surging winners of 3 in a row as Dan Quinn trying to get his team back in the winning ways. The Packers won the toss, they deferred, and here we go from Green Bay as Crosby's kick goes through the end zone, and Atlanta will take over and start on their own 25 with Matt Ryan leading the Falcons out on the field. And despite the offense for Atlanta, you know, Matt Ryan has had a really good year this year. The offense has struggled as a whole, Charles, but Ryan having is one of his better years. And on the line, they make changes. Zane Beadle's got his first start at right guard last week. Ty Sambrailo in at right tackle. Ryan Schrader, who has been there for a while, benched for his play. We'll see how that affects things as they will try to get the run game going to Tevin Coleman. And it's interesting, the Packers deferred. I feel like does anybody not defer when they win the kickoff now?
I'm sure analytics tells them something about getting an extra possession, but when you've struggled all year and your defense has had its share of troubles too, and your offense is your best weapon, I would take the football here. I don't know why they would defer, but this defense, they need a big game today because they're going to get tested by a tough Atlanta Falcons passing attack.
On second down, here's Ryan with pressure. Ryan going deep for Julio Jones. He has got it. Oh no, incomplete. He did not come down with it. Jair Alexander matched up with Jones.
And the pass was there. Good route by Julio Jones. But watch Alexander, number 23 in green. See how he fights all the way through? Remember, what do you have to do, Kevin? You have to complete the process of the catch. And he jars it free at the end.
Now what is happening here? Because the ruling was incomplete, but I guess someone else must have said complete because the Falcons rush up to the line where Jones, you know, supposedly caught that ball.
Well, let's take a look here because, look, Alexander has a hand on the football, so he doesn't have firm possession of it as he goes to the ground, and that ball's moving as he's ripping it out.
Well, they'll try and sort this out. Packers have a challenge. I guess they rolled it complete. We'll see in a minute.
And the officials, they called this pass complete. That's Jabir Walker right there on the left of your screen. Coming into the screen would be Jerry Bergman on the right, clearly indicating they called a complete pass.
The ruling on the field stands.
Whoa!
Green Bay will be charged with the first team timeout.
The standard for the season has been what is called on the field, and they called it a complete pass on the field. I disagree with the call because to me the ball was moving throughout the process. The ball is never really secured by Julio Jones, and it was pulled out at the end, but yet they called it complete.
That's unbelievable. We'll check in with Dean Blandino in a second because the Falcons are up to the line of scrimmage. Yeah, initially I think I said complete, but incomplete. That's surprising. And the Packers, we just get going here, and Joe Philbin uses a challenge. And now we have a moment. Let's go to Dean Blandino. Dean, what did you see on this play?
I'm with you guys. To me, that was an incomplete pass. He's going to the ground. There's no football move.
It's moving the entire time, Dean.
You can see it here. Does he ever secure control of it? He hits the ground, the ball comes loose. That's an incomplete pass. I am surprised that they let that stand.
So they called it complete on the field, and then the challenge by the Packers is a no-go. So, all that being said, it's a big play for the Falcons and a first down at the Green Bay 42, and now we get another whistle. This game's off to a flying start.
False start, number 74, offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
And, of course, that's on Ty Sambrailo, as we told you, making a start for Ryan Schrader, the incumbent right tackle, who is getting benched today. The whole offensive line for Atlanta has not been up to par. And Brilo had 2 starts at right tackle last year. 9 career starts.
Remember, he started at left tackle as a rookie for the Denver Broncos before coming to Atlanta.
Well, what a strange beginning to this game. Here's the fake. Ryan has extra time. Now he's going to throw, coming near side, and that ball is caught incomplete. I think. Yeah, it is. Julio Jones makes that catch.
Let's check the feet. There's Julio going up for the catch. 1 foot down. 2nd foot being dragged right there, and it's very close to the white. But they called it complete, and you see the official looking right down and checking it out.
Well, Joe Philbin isn't going to use his last challenge here. Maybe. Oh, yes, he is. He will.
He just doubled down.
This is crazy. So here's the deal. The Packers are out of challenges for the rest of the game because he's already got the first one wrong.
There's the catch. There's the 1st foot down. The 2nd foot being dragged right there. And does that look like it's in the white? As we see the official, number 75, and that is Mark Stewart, who is right on the play and right there. Take a look at Mark Stewart.
Challenging the ruling on the field of a completed catch.
See, Mark Stewart is right there in perfect position. He called it a catch, but that foot appears to be a little bit in the white to me. It should be an incomplete pass, the 2nd foot coming down.
Here's the one thing, you know, they ruled it a catch on the field.
Yes.
Let's go back to Dean Blandino, our rules expert. Dean, you're going to earn your money today, apparently. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I guess this is going to be one of those games. The key is that foot does that toe drag just before it hits in the white. I think that's going to be the key to this decision because he has control. He's going to get the right foot down, and it's the left foot. Does any part of that foot drag inbounds before it touches the white? If they let the last one stand, I think they have to let this one stand.
And Mark Stewart is in perfect position, Dean. He is right there on the line, eyeing the whole thing right down. I mean, he hustled and got into a spot. I think he's out of bounds, but I think I'm agreeing with you in terms of if the last one stood, the call on the field was complete and pass, this one will stay in as well.
Dean, thank you so much.
And I mean, look at this, Kevin. Look at Mark Stewart. He is right there on the play. So give him credit for hustle and being in position, and Atlanta may benefit.
Came on the air talking about the Packers. Mike McCarthy out. Joe Philbin, interim coach. A minute 30 into Joe Philbin's Packers tenure. He's out of challenges for the rest of the day.
But what he did right out of the gate with these 2 challenge flags is tell this Packers team, I'm here fighting for you right now as your new head coach. I believe in what you already did on the field. That's kind of what he was telling them, even though he's out of challenges now.
Let's get the call.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Completed catch. That's 2nd timeout for Green Bay. And that is all their challenges for the game. Green Bay has no more challenges for the game.
But you know, this could very well be for Green Bay, almost like a basketball coach getting a technical foul to try and motivate his team. Joe Philbin just put himself out there for his team twice already. Now, whether it's the right call or not, that's up to you to decide at home. But he went out there and said, I believe that you got the ball out, Jair. I believe that was an incomplete pass. They're out of challenges, but that's how he approached it.
Well, that's his record on challenges in the career. The Falcons have run 3 plays in this game, 2 of them of the utmost controversy already. What a start. Falcons go extra lineman here. They'll try to run the football. Here is Coleman. And he's going to work his way inside the 25 to the 23 before Josh Jackson was there to force him out of bounds.
I think on 2 carries now, Tevin Coleman is pretty much equaled his output in the previous 2 ball games. He had 8 yards in one game, 6 yards in another. And on 2 carries here, he's got to be right around that number already.
My only question in the early going is, has Dean asked for a raise already? That's a lot of work for him a minute and a half into the game. That's Coleman's numbers the last couple games, Charles, on point. 2 carries, 10 yards to start. Near side this time, and that is Marvin Hall, the receiver who got it, and it goes nowhere. Kyler Fackrell was there to sniff it out.
Well defense by Fackrell. Didn't get fooled at all by the misdirection from Atlanta. Watch Fackrell right here, number 51. Holds the point of attack at the line of scrimmage. Look at him fighting off the extra tight end there, Eric Saubert. Sees the play in front of him and drives Saubert back. Releases and makes the tackle.
Ito Smith in the game at tailback on a 3rd and 8. Wide open over the middle. He's going to throw it, and he's got to hook up to Sanu for a first down. Thought about running it, but Sanu was wide open, and it moves the chains.
It's a great example for young quarterbacks at home. When you decide to flush the pocket, keep your eyes downfield. Things might develop. Ryan doesn't have his first one, but look how his eyes stay up, and he finds his target downfield, and he knows he's much better off giving the ball to Mohamed Sanu than he is taking off and using his legs.
First down. Ryan has time, going to sling it out there to Jones, who is going to get to the end zone. It's a touchdown.
So Jones coming in, a little shallow cross, and look at that. The Packers end up picking themselves off. Kenny Clark, number 97, dropped from his nose tackle position into coverage and actually bounced the linebacker off of the coverage of Julio Jones. And he doesn't need much space to make catches. You give him that much room, it turns into touchdowns.
Quite the start for the Falcons on the opening drive. 2 controversial catches, 2 challenges by the Packers that were wrong. And Julio Jones with 3 early catches for 63 yards after being held under 20 yards last week. And so the Falcons go down the field on their opening drive. Julio Jones with a touchdown and finds a Julio fan to give it to. Falcons 7-0 early. Well, Julio Jones, I think the Falcons said, you know what, maybe we should get him more than 2 catches. And so they got him 3 on the first drive. Granted, 2 of them might not have actually been catches, but hey, that's how it goes, and the Falcons score, and they have the lead early.
And how about Atlanta? They showed a little hint of trying to run it with Tevin Coleman. And what did they want to do? Get the ball to Julio Jones early, and it paid off big. 2 big catches, both of them contested and controversial. But then the third one on the payoff, he finds the end zone.
We're not sure that either one of those was a catch. But with that, the Packers used both of their challenges for the entire game. So they're out for the rest of the way. So all that being said, here comes Aaron Rodgers, who, you know, look what he has done this season. 21 touchdowns, only 1 interception. The last one, you know, you're talking about no interception since week 4. Currently, Rodgers is on some kind of streak. 336 passes without an interception. The record is 358 from Tom Brady. So he's only 22 away from that, but of course hasn't translated to wins.
And a lot of changes on the Packers offensive line today as well. The number of starters, Brian Bulaga, Byron Bell, Lane Taylor, not going today.
3 starters on the line, all out, and they will throw it on first down. Equanimous St. Brown as the catch, and a pickup of 8 on first down for Green Bay. Well, Charles, you talked about it. This is, I mean, 3 starters out now, and that's the right tackle, that's the right guard, and your left guard. So the Packers, that'll bear watching against this Falcons team, which is one of the worst in pressuring the quarterbacks in the NFL. Rodgers is blocked up, going far side of the field, and he's got a completion. It's St. Brown again for a first down for Green Bay. So catches number 14 and 15 for Equanimous St. Brown, the 6th-round draft pick out of Notre Dame.
It'd be interesting to watch how Joe Philbin in his first game ever as a play caller decides to do things now with 3 new offensive linemen. The Falcons defense screams run the football at us, but maybe they feel that pass blocking is the forte of these new offensive linemen, and the Packers may go in that direction.
They'll throw it again. Quick throw. Randall Cobb will make the catch despite a big hit by Jordan Richards, and Cobb is out to the 45. It's another pickup of 8. It is amazing, right? You're talking about Joe Philbin's been around this game for a long, long time. He's never called plays in the NFL.
You can tell, too, because he doesn't hold the play sheet up to his face to try and hide it, right? It's his first time. He's just trying to get the play called and get it to Aaron, and one of his big goals coming in was to get it to him quickly and with confidence so that Aaron can mull it over and decide what to do.
Fine on! 319! 319!
On the fake, here's Rodgers, has a lot of time. Now some pressure coming. Rodgers eludes. Resets, and there's just nothing there. He's going to throw it away. He was looking down the field, but there's nothing available as Jack Crawford came with some late pressure. This Falcons defense, you talked about it, Charles. They kind of beg you to run the ball. They average giving up 130 yards rushing per game, and of course the Ravens gouged them last week.
They were very happy to get Deion Jones, number 45, back to run their defense from his middle linebacker position. And in the secondary, DeMonte KZ has had a spectacular year at free safety, 6 interceptions on the year.
On third down, Rodgers stands in, floats one. Adams with a heck of a catch. Davante Adams with Alford all over him. Didn't matter. He hauls it in. It's a Green Bay first down.
And once again, if you see right in here, watch Davante Adams work against Robert Alford. Alford's head is looking at Davante Adams. If Aaron Rodgers sees the back of the helmet of a defensive back, he throws the football because he can't make a play on it, but his receiver can, and Adams does exactly that.
Packers go 3 tight ends. They will run it with Williams right up the gut, breaking through. Good hard run by Jamal Williams. He's got 9 yards. Well, Charles, it's interesting on this first drive. It's Williams in the game, not Aaron Jones. And I wonder, because of all the offensive linemen out, because Williams is such a good blocker, if that has something to do with it.
That may very well have something to do with it, because Williams' forte is pass protection if he's in the ball game, as well as being a straight ahead hammer of a running back. And we just saw an example of that on that last carry.
Here we go.
Here we go. Quick throw, far side of the field. It is complete. Valdez-Scantling with the catch, makes a move, gets it down to the 11. And a quick hitter for 14 yards.
And how about the block out front by Randall Cobb? Watch Cobb go right here and block. And Valdez-Scantling reads the block and gets to the outside. If he blocks him outside, he cuts inside. But because of Cobb getting good positioning and turning the defensive back, Scantling read that very well and got to the corner.
As Kendricks, a tight end in motion.
Hey, stop for one. 319.
They'll run it. It's Williams. Oh, he gets stacked up. Crawford was there for a nice play. Let's get our first game break from Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Kevin. So Panthers losers of the last 4 games, trying to get back on track, but this doesn't help Baker Mayfield. He hands it off to Jarvis Landry, who scores from 3 yards out. We're all tied up in Cleveland. Kevin?
Carissa, thanks. Yeah, the Panthers, you look like they were on their way maybe to challenging the Saints in the division. They've lost 4 in a row. They're a mess right now. Second down and 12 for Rodgers and company.
319.
Looking Valdez-Scantling's way, incomplete, and there is a penalty flag. Alford on the coverage.
I think people are wondering where the flag was, because it took a while for it to come out. Probably to get through the layers of clothing.
Interference, number 23, defense. Ball be placed to the spot of the foul. First down.
And Robert Alford, to the surprise of not very many, another holding penalty. One of the things that he's battled through his entire career, grabbing in routes and causing penalties such as that. Sometimes when you're beat as a defensive back, you grab as opposed to giving up the touchdown. They called Alford again on that one.
9th play of the drive for Green Bay. Rodgers looking far side, going far side. Adams, did he get in? Touchdown!
So you get the penalty to previous play against Alford. Now he backs off, and he retreats a little bit near the goal line, which you can't do as a defensive back. If you're at the goal line, you don't step into the end zone with the receiver in front of you. You make him bypass you and throw it over the top because he runs out of space in the back of the end zone. Any catch in front of you like that, that's not a good play for a defensive back.
Davante Adams is a touchdown machine, his 12th of the year. He's got the most receiving touchdowns in the league since 2016. And now Crosby for the extra point try. We're tied. And so you come to Lambeau in December with a couple of struggling teams, and the gunslingers say, you know what? We're going to throw the ball over the yard today. Why not? And all the young fans getting a ball today. I love it. Tied at 7 from Lambeau. Well, I mean, it's December in Green Bay. Did you expect 75? I mean, it's 26. The wind chill is going to feel like about 15, but it's sunny. And yeah, we got those on the sideline, too. So there is an ability for people to keep warm.
I love when it says feels like. 26 is cold enough. It doesn't have to feel like anything else.
I can't wait after this kick to ask Pam Oliver what she feels like down on the field, but we will soon know as Crosby will kick it off. And it's taken back there by Marvin Hall, who has some room out across the 25. Why don't we find out exactly how cold it is down on the field? Pam Oliver. Pam.
Hey, Kevin, why don't you mind your own business? Meantime, the Atlanta Falcons obviously aren't used to these kinds of temperatures. Dan Quinn, he was concerned enough about it that he brought the team down a day early. They held an outdoor walkthrough. He wanted players to know what to expect and what to wear. Spoke to Greg Knapp, their quarterback's coach, and he told me that he's not concerned about passing at all. He does feel that the wind is picking up, and he said temperatures aren't that bad. I don't know what game he's at.
Well, that is interesting to see clearly how they responded on the first drive as Julio Jones makes his 4th catch of the day.
And Pam bringing them here the day early to get them acclimated, that's a great point. And I think they did their walkthrough over at City Stadium, which used to be the home field of the Green Bay Packers. And Dan Quinn, I believe, told his team, if you're going to complain about the cold, you're going to do it today, not tomorrow on game day. Is that correct?
That is correct. And I looked at a lot of players. They aren't wearing sleeves. They're trying to, make it mind over matter at least. Back to you.
Pam also killing the Coke game today.
No doubt.
On a 2nd and 4 for the Falcons. They will run it. It is Coleman. And, this Falcon offense, Charles, we talked about it at the onset. They were on a pretty good pace. In the last 4 games, they fell apart. They haven't been able to run the ball as we have an injury. I think it's Kenny Clark, who has had a fantastic year.
They can ill afford to lose him. He has been their most consistent defensive player all season long.
Mike Daniels on IR, Muhammad Wilkerson on IR. They've been banged up on the defensive side of the ball. And they'll tend to Kenny Clark. 7-7 game. Back in a minute.
Tie ball game here in Green Bay, and the Packers have lost their best defensive player, at least for the short term. Kenny Clark, number 97. Look how he gets rolled up and bent back over as he's engaged with number 71, Wes Schweitzer, the offensive guard for the Atlanta Falcons. I know we'll get a report on Kenny Clark coming up, and hopefully he'll be back in the game.
Yeah, Packers in a dime situation, only 2 linemen right now. They'll run it again to Tevin Coleman. It breaks through, and Coleman has a first down all the way out to midfield. He's going to pick up 13 yards on the run. And
so Kenny Clark, normally in the middle of the Packers defense, they take advantage of it and come right back into that gap where Clark would play. Dean Lowry trying to fill the spot. Tevin Coleman finds nice open space with good blocking.
Let's go!
They'll run it again with Coleman, and that time not much. Dean Lowry was there first. Charles, you talked about it in the onset of the game, getting Tevin Coleman and the run game going, right? And we showed you Coleman's last couple weeks. He's had a combined 14 yards. He's already over that. And I thought Steve Sarkisian said something interesting. He said, I think our lack of a run game has really hurt our passing game.
There's no doubt, because if you don't have to respect the run game at all, you can get in those nickel dime packages. You can bring extra pressures at the quarterback, Matt Ryan, and he's been hit a lot in the last 3-4 weeks.
Coleman out, Ito Smith in now on a 2nd down. 4-man rush, now a late blitz. Picked up, Ryan goes in the flat. He's got his tight end, Austin Hooper, who's got another Atlanta first down. There goes Kenny Clark. Meanwhile, the Falcons have 7 first downs already in this early going.
And they're going to go play fast, too. They're going to get up on the line of scrimmage after a first down and continue to utilize that momentum and see Steve Sarkisian calling into play to Matt Ryan.
Justin! Justin! Hey! Cold Justin!
That's a lot of talking at the line, and they will run the football to Ito Smith for a short gain. Well, the Falcons, what we were telling you about, first 8 games, you know, they had won 3 in a row to get to 4-4. They were scoring 28.5 a game, and in the last 4, their offense has gone away. There's a lot of factors to it, right? Offensive line has not played well. They've made a couple of changes trying to get that better. And the defense can't get off the field. That also doesn't help. On second down, it's Ito Smith. Nice little sidestep there for Smith, who's going to get inside the 30, and a 3rd and short is coming up.
You hear all that extra communication going on. You mentioned it 2 plays ago, Kevin, about the Falcons' offensive line. As we look at their offense and their 4 straight losses, as you see the numbers continue to decline in their running game. But that extra communication, the offensive line, that's all the changes. Guys in different spots. Alex Mack, the center, making sure he's communicating, probably over-communicating to make sure they don't have any busts in the offensive line.
Yeah, again, essentially a new right guard, a new right tackle the last couple of weeks. Packers showing blitz. Here they come. It's picked up. Ryan somehow completes it to Sanu. There were a million people right in that same area, but Sanu stuck the catch and has an Atlanta first down with a pickup of 8.
And they're going to go right back to the line of scrimmage again. Watch Sanu, number 12 in white. Watch the catch in there in traffic. As you noted, Kevin, went up and stuck the catch. Good strong hands and snatched it out of the air.
They'll throw it. Ryan looking towards Julio Jones, not there. Now going towards the other side, and it's incomplete. Wanted Jones on the left, went to Ridley on the right, and it's an incomplete pass.
How about Matt Ryan buying the extra time to give Ridley a chance to make the extra move downfield and gave themselves a chance? It was a poor throw by Matt. You don't get that very often, but he bought that extra time to give Ridley the shot downfield.
Charles, the Ravens abused the Falcons with their blitz package last week. So far, this offensive line is holding up at the beginning of this game.
Well, they got it. It's the 2nd week in a row they're going to get a team this multiple. When you look at Matt Ryan, the most pass yards, first 11 seed in the NFL, and he's now at the top of the list.
Pretty impressive. On second down, they will run it. It is Coleman. And Tevin Coleman has a pickup of 2. So 3rd and 8 is coming up. At the very least, there is a commitment here to run the ball. Atlanta's run it now 9 times.
And when we talked with Steve Sarkisian, he talked about that. I want to be balanced like any play caller. I won't beat my head against a wall if it's not working. But you can't totally abandon the run, because then you're putting your offensive lineman in a really tough spot, and that happened to them against Baltimore. You mentioned all the blitzes and the pressures. Couldn't run the ball. They just teed off on Matt Ryan.
That's Julio Jones in motion. On 3rd down, Ryan lost the football. He tried to tuck it back in. Now it's loose, and Coleman with an unbelievable recovery, but that knocks him out of field goal range.
And the reason Coleman was able to get back there was he was running just a little bit of a hitch route down in the flat. He actually, I believe, was able to see it. Watch Coleman. He just gets out to the outside, and see how his head's turned back towards Matt Ryan? So he saw the ball come out of Matt Ryan's hands. That allowed him to sprint back and recover the lost football. These cold weather conditions, the grip on the football, not ideal for the quarterbacks, and that one goes awry for Matt Ryan, but Coleman able to see it and get it.
They're going to try a field goal here, but Matt Bryant did not have a lot of distance from this direction in pregame. This is a 53-yard attempt. The snap and hold are down. The kick is up, and it is, yeah, it's short. He did not have the distance in the pregame, and he doesn't have it during the game. And that's his first field goal miss of the entire season.
And don't forget, he came into this game listed as questionable with a bad back. Not sure he can get all that he wants on this kick. But as you noted, Kevin, in pregame, in this direction, it was difficult, and that held up once the game action became live.
Matt Bryant's one of the game's best. Even at his age, he is 43 years old. He's still got a long distance leg, but I didn't see him hit for longer than 45 in that direction.
Obviously, the weather conditions affecting him. Hitting that ball's got to feel like kicking a brick. And don't forget, listed all week long on the injury report with a bad back. So you may have a combination there that prevents it from getting everything he wants into each kick.
Aaron Jones checks into the game for the first time at tailback for Green Bay. But they will throw it again. Rodgers sends his pressure. Going to sling it to the far side of the field for Cobb, but it's incomplete.
What I've noticed lately, when Aaron Rodgers makes that second move, right? The play starts, he has his normal drop back. Now he wants the second move and extend the play and move around. Aaron wants to throw to kill downfield, meaning he wants receivers getting downfield, finding your way open for big chunks. He doesn't like to check it down. In recent games, teams have made him check it down, and that's driving him crazy. Receivers have to find their way downfield for them to make that more effective.
Second down. This time he's got some time. Rolling. There's his Charles said. He's going to go for it all. Deep downfield to grab. Knocked away at the very last second. Foye Oluokun.
Watch 54 in white. The inside linebacker, he sees that Graham breaks free, and now he uses his rookie legs out of Yale, and now he gets his head around and actually makes a play on the ball at the end of it. But just as we were talking about, when Aaron Rodgers scrambles around and buys time, he doesn't want to throw a 5-yard pass. He wants to throw a dagger downfield, and he just took the shot.
Good play by Oluokun. And so it brings up a 3rd and 10. 4-man rush, now a blitz, and Rodgers goes down. The Falcons came with the cornerback blitz, and Desmond Trufant has the sack.
There's the difference scorer, Marquand Manuel, who actually was a starter for Green Bay at one point. As a defensive back, he's back in his old haunts now as the D coordinator. And as you called, Kevin, the corner blitz coming off the edge, and Trufant puts Aaron Rodgers down. See, Manuel was a hard-hitting, strong safety when he played. He liked the blitz as well. He didn't mind making that call.
Well, we've had a lot of action in this first quarter, which is now expired. 7-7 game, Green Bay and Atlanta from Lambeau. We start the second quarter from Green Bay. A 7-7 game, an action-packed first quarter, along with Pam Oliver, Charles Davis, our entire NFL on Fox crew. I'm Kevin Burkhardt. Good to have you aboard. Here's J.K. Scott's punt. Fair catch by Hardy, and Atlanta will take over from just outside their own 20-yard line. So, Falcons have moved the ball up and down the field to start. But on the last possession, Ryan tried to bring the ball back, fumbled it, was recovered, made it a long field goal, and Matt Bryant missed for the first time all year long. So you get an idea of total yards last week, 131. That's the entire game. First quarter, 127. They're doing a little bit better today.
And they really wanted to get better on third down. Their numbers for the year are good, third down. But last week, 22%, jumped up to 67 already in the first quarter this week.
They run out of the I formation, and Ito Smith gets buried. Nowhere to go as Morrison was there with the tackle. We have a game break. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee.
Well, you can make an argument that Christian McCaffrey might be an MVP candidate for the second half of the season. You said he can't get the tough yards. Nice 1-yard touchdown run. He's got 2 rushing touchdowns today. He had 10 in his previous 6 games before this. They were up 14-7 in Cleveland. Kevin, Charles, and Pam.
And Kurt, and he never comes off the field ever either.
And they can put away the myth that he can't run inside the tackles. They can bury that one.
Ryan throw has time over the middle, and it's incomplete. Ridley had his hands on it, could not corral it. Let's get an injury update downstairs with Pam.
Hey, Kevin, you saw defensive end, Kenny Clark. He went from the tent to the locker room where he remains. He's got an elbow injury, and he is questionable. Back to you.
Pam, thanks. So Montravius Adams will get a lot more reps today. Well, he comes off the field on this play because it's a 3rd and long. Here's Ryan with a blitz coming. It's picked up. Ryan sees it coming. Near side, incomplete. Well, he had him. He just couldn't connect with Ridley, and the Falcons will have to punt.
And that's when you got to come down with the rookie Calvin Ridley. Terrific opportunity. You noted it, Kevin, and he does a nice job running that route, being physical, pushing off on the cornerback there, Tony Brown, to clear some space, and then the ball's right on top of him. He's not able to control it.
Steve Sarkisian said, I wouldn't call it a rookie wall for him because he's working so hard, but I would like to get him going, to get his mojo going early. 2 chances, no catches.
He's had some tough plays in recent weeks. They're trying to get those erased from his memory bank.
Here's Bosher to punt it away. Jair Alexander, short kick, lets it bounce, and that was a mistake. Takes a great Falcons bounce and roll all the way down to the 25. And so Aaron Rodgers back on the field. We come back all tied up. Joe Philbin, the interim head coach for the Green Bay Packers. He's had a couple different runs here, and a sandwich on the beginning and end of his tenure as head coach of the Miami Dolphins, and so he knows this organization well. He's friends with Mike McCarthy, who of course was fired after last week's loss to Arizona. And it was interesting. Mike McCarthy, you don't see this if ever, got a chance to come back and address the team during the week. As Rodgers looking to throw near side, Adams knocked away. Nice play by Isaiah Oliver. So got back to address the team, and yeah, it's a pretty classy thing to allow to have McCarthy kind of have some closure. Yeah, and it came from Mike. You know, Mike McCarthy, he asked Joe Philbin and Brian Gutekunst, the general manager, if he could come back and talk to not just the team, but to his staff. He talked to the staff one day, team the next. Got a standing ovation from the team on his way out, and a great way of closure for both sides.
319!
Here is Rodgers. Blitz is coming. Gets rid of it. Jimmy Graham has the catch, fighting forward. He's going to be shy of a first down by 2 yards. So Graham has an 8-yard catch. Yeah, you know, you were talking to Aaron Rodgers for a while the other day about McCarthy, and he said, look, you know, there's a lot of love and respect for him in the building. He thought it was really cool to have him back. But Rodgers, you know, he's always so forthright when you talk to him, Charles. He really is. He said, look, I think everyone in this building needs to have a fire lit under our backside. We need to wake up and change with the times. I think he feels like everyone needs to kind of wake up and do some things differently.
He said this team is underachieved this year.
Rodgers in pressure. Now looking to run, going to run. First down, sliding down across the 40-yard line.
And that's one of the ways you can help jumpstart your offense. This is not something new. This is something we've seen from Green Bay all the time. Bruce Irvin, number 52, came too far inside on his pass rush, and that gave the corner to Aaron Rodgers. And watch him read it. See Irvin right there to the left? 52 too far inside on the pass rush. That gave the avenue for Rodgers. He takes advantage of it. And when he talks about jump-starting people, he's looking at himself first.
First carry of the game for Aaron Jones, only a yard. But Charles, more, you know, from Aaron Rodgers, you know, he said, I don't feel, though, like we're that far away. He said, I feel like the leadership is in the right position here with Brian and Mark. And when he says Brian and Mark, he means those two guys. Mark Murphy, the president, is on your right. Brian Gutekunst, the general, Murphy on the left. Brian Gutekunst, the general manager, on your right.
He's also talking about the talent on the team. They've had a number of injuries themselves. They are not that far off from still being a contender.
Rodgers going deep. He's got Adams with a nice play. Davante Adams had a step. Rodgers put it right where he wanted to put it, and he's out of bounds at the 37 for a gain of 22.
Now look at this. Isaiah Oliver is in press coverage, number 20. He's a rookie out of Colorado. What did he not do much of at the University of Colorado? Plays press coverage. He was much more of a zone guy and an off coverage guy. So that's where he struggles. They see that in the scouting report. They see him up there in press coverage, and they go immediately to their number 1 receiver, Davante Adams, winning that route at the line of scrimmage.
Alarm! 45! Short! 319!
They will run it to Jones, stretch right. Aaron Jones looking for room, and he's going to have a gain of 4 on the play. Aaron Jones actually second in the NFL, averaging 5.7 a carry. But Charles, just to tie up the thoughts, I think the idea is this. Not only, you know, Green Bay is going to be looking for a new head coach, but I think the gist of Rodgers, I think a lot of people is active in free agency, right? That's something they just haven't done for the last decade and a half.
Well, as Brian Gutekunst's taking over this year, they got a little more active going into this season. They will continue to be more active going forward. Ted Thompson, the previous GM, was truly a build through the draft guy and not in free agency.
Rodgers sees the pressure, gets rid of it quickly. Marquez Valdez-Scantling has himself the catch. About a yard shy of a first down, so 3rd and 1.
And just remember, if you're thinking about, hey, free agency, that's the cure-all, be judicious in free agency. Use that as pieces to cap different things. The draft is still the best way to go because you see a lot of teams go big on free agency. Doesn't work very well, you'll have to start over again.
That's one of those guys in free agency they brought over, Jimmy Graham, off the field here.
58!
They will run it. Jones sneaks through. First down, Green Bay. Vic Beasley was upset. He thought they had him, and they did, but Jones powered through it.
How about the vision here of Jones? Because it is jammed up in the middle. You see how the Falcons bring extra bodies? And he sees it to the right, makes Beasley number 44 miss, slides through Niesman 41 before KZ puts him down, but gets the necessary yardage. Good vision and a nice tough inside run by Aaron Jones.
There is Joe Philbin calling plays for the first time in the NFL ever, as Charles pointed out. Coming near side, Adams, double team there. Devonta Adams has a short game. It was Oliver and Poole, and Adams shoved far, way out of bounds. Fans want a flag. There is none.
You know, you go back to Joe Philbin, his first time in game action, not preseason, calling plays in the NFL, and he joked with us that, hey, if I get off track, I've got some assistants who can help me out and get me going on the play calling. And we just kind of laughed because you don't need the assistants. If you have trouble calling the play, you get number 12 out there. He'll take it from there. And Aaron Rodgers still has the ability to change plays at the line of scrimmage, make the different calls as he sees necessary. But Joe Philbin just wants to get him to call early and let him work from there.
Yeah, Rodgers said just a different voice in the helmet.
That's all.
On the fake, Rodgers, pressure coming, looking, and that is going to be incomplete. He tried to get it to St. Brown, and it'll bring up a 3rd down. Game break, let's check in with Kurt Menefee.
All right, Kevin, I know you and Charles will like this one. Watch this throw by Baker Mayfield. He's 6 for 6 in the game, including this 51-yard strike to Jarvis Landry. 133 yards and that touchdown, and that's why the Browns and Panthers were all even.
How about that, Kurt? And you remember he won the Heisman last year? Kyler Murray from Oklahoma won it this year. Jay Glazer talked about his prospects in the pregame show.
Falcons come with a blitz. Rodgers in trouble. Still on his feet, and now down he goes. Devondre Campbell has the 2nd Falcons sack of the day. And the Packers are sending the punting team out.
Look at that, right in all the gaps. They occupy everyone. And look at right there at the top of the helmet. That's what Aaron Rodgers was so upset about, was the hand on the top of the helmet. And he wanted to get a call on that one because of the hand affecting things. No call from the officials. Aaron Rodgers very upset, but a nice blitz by the Falcons.
And I said punt, I meant field goal team. It's Mason Crosby from 50. And he had enough to get it through. So Crosby from 50 has the Packers out in front. So the fans wanted the call. They don't get that, but they do get the long field goal, and they've got the lead with 7:45 to go in this first half from Lambeau.
So Aaron Rodgers upset about Devondre Campbell's hand on his helmet, but we checked with Dean Blandino, and he says it's a good no call. He's not grabbing the face mask. He's not twisting that. So it's a good no call, just going for the tackle, and the hand gets on the helmet.
And the Falcons' 2nd sack of the day, but Mason Crosby with a 50-yard field goal to give Green Bay the lead. Here's Marvin Hall, who just drops the ball. Now picks it up, and he's in trouble. And he is in big trouble. He just dropped it and then picked it up, but only got out to the 8-yard line.
On days like this, the ball tends to be more slippery, right? You don't have any real moisture in the air. We've seen it with Matt Ryan trying to throw a pass. The ball just comes out of his hand. Marvin Hall trying to put the ball away. The ball just slips through. Have to really be focused on ball security on a day like this. It's not just rainy days that affect guys.
Look, this has been a big issue. You want to look at the Falcons offense. We told you the line hasn't blocked well. Their starting field position stinks. And they also don't get a ton of drives per game. It's hard to go 80, 90 yards every single time. These all contribute to why the offense has struggled the last month. Here they will fake the run. They will look to pass. They will do that to Hardy, and that is going to be a short game as Martinez was there. And by the way, wanted to point out, Charles, on that play, Kenny Clark is back in for Green Bay. So good to see him back in the game. There he is. And
our colleague Pam Oliver reminded us in the break that when we met with Mike Pettin, the defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers, he talked about how he expected in this type of weather Atlanta to try and run the football a little bit more. And they have done that, but they also still are trying to get the big payoffs with Julio Jones. He's had a big first half. Expect them to try and find Julio a little bit more on this drive as well.
Falcons go jumbo. They bring on Ben Garland as an extra lineman here. They will run it, and Coleman, that's a very short gain, and a third down is coming your way. There's Mike Pettin, the defensive coordinator, in his first year in Green Bay. 3rd and 4.
Julio Jones in the slot now for the Falcons.
Blitz coming. Ryan going the other way. It's intercepted, and it's going to be a touchdown. Bashaud Breeland, a pick six.
Defensive coordinator Mike Pettin told us that we have not made enough plays to affect the game on defense. Well, here's one of the plays they were looking for. Breeland working against Austin Hooper, the tight end, number 81. The Packers blitz. The ball is to get out of Matt Ryan's hands quickly. So Breeland doesn't retreat in coverage and goes right for the football, snatches it away, and puts it in the end zone.
Extra point is up and good. 17 unanswered for Green Bay. Breeland with the defensive touchdown on the interception return for 22 yards, and you get rewarded with a Lambeau leap. Packers with a big play, and they're up 10. Well, Matt Ryan talking to Austin Hooper, trying to figure out what went wrong. I'm feeling Charles Davis will help us with that in just a second. Meanwhile, Bashaud Breeland, second career touchdown. First as a Packer, and the Packers' first defensive touchdown all year. They did have a punt block touchdown earlier.
We were here for that.
We were.
It's Minnesota.
That feels good for Green Bay. 17 unanswered now as Hall will kind of set it up with dropping the ball on the last kickoff return. This one a lot better. What happened on the play, Charles?
So the Packers are bringing pressure here, but watch here. Hooper and Breeland become one-on-one. And I think what happens is Hooper becomes a hot receiver and probably needs to break it off a little bit earlier in his route. And you see how he bent the route? He rounded it, Kevin. It wasn't sharp. And because it was round, that allows Breeland to undercut the route and make the pick. So it's all a matter of timing and details, probably about a yard difference between either being an incompletion or a catch for Atlanta. Instead, a touchdown for Green Bay.
It certainly changes things in this one as Falcons try to run against Ito Smith. And he bounces off of people and works it out to the 34.
You could almost hear Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn. And Vince Vaughn screaming, hot route, hot route. And he doesn't break it off fast enough. Instead, Breeland gets it. I got to quit going to the movies.
It's a great Wedding Crashers reference. I'm impressed. 2nd and 5. They'll run it again. They'll run it again to Smith. Breaking tackles. Ito Smith shoving people away. Ito Smith out into Green Bay territory to the 49. Blake Martinez had a chance, could haul him down. He wasn't the only one.
Good vision, good balance. What's the term we're using now in the NFL? Contact balance, right? Here's contact, keeps his balance. There's contact, keeps his balance, and then sprints into the secondary. Well run by Ito Smith with good blocking at the point of attack.
17 yards to be exact on that one. They're going to run it again. Why not? Not the same success that time. Pickup of about 3.
The little guy out of Southern Miss is really giving them some nice bounce and better plays than they might have expected. He's had to accelerate his development. They thought he'd be the number 3 back this year. With the injury to Devontae Freeman, he had to bump up a bit.
Here's Ryan looking to throw, going deep, going for Julio Jones. He makes the catch. Julio Jones has it down to the 13-yard line for Atlanta.
There's a flag back around where Matt Ryan ended the play. But how about Matt Ryan reading the one-on-one coverage and press from the rookie and going to his #1 target downfield in Julio Jones. Jones tracks it well, well-thrown football for the big completion, but there's a flag back where Matt Ryan threw the football.
Yeah, Walt Coleman's mic did not work on that particular play. I think he called a hands to the face on Atlanta, so all that for nothing, and it's coming all the way back.
So, boy, they just wasted a nice read by Matt Ryan because he had another play call. And you notice he called the audible and went to his #1 receiver. When he gets one-on-one press man coverage, he doesn't care who the corner is. If Julio Jones is out there, he wants to get it to him.
So a couple big mistakes. The pick 6 for Atlanta, and then that negates a big play to Jones. Ryan going to set up a screen, and that gets blown up. Let's go back to the penalty on Atlanta.
So let's see what negated the pass downfield. So look to the left of your screen, and it looked like Alex Mack, the all-pro center, and you see the hands right there on number 97, Kenny Clark, and that's what was called. And that wiped away that beautiful throw downfield. And how about the play there by the Packers defense on the screen pass? Read that well, as you described, Kevin.
All that being said, a 3rd and 20. Packers only rushed 3 this time. Ryan throwing on the run, and it is incomplete. He tried to get it to Marvin Hawn. It wouldn't have been a first down anyway. Breland again had his hands on in there, and it'll force an Atlanta punt.
Played a lot of basketball for my dad in high school. All right, he was my high school basketball coach, one of them. And he used to always say, the guy who scored the last basket is your best defender, because he's going to get back down court and defend again really hard. Bashaud Breeland just got a pick 6. Who was on that coverage?
Oh,
Bashaud Breeland.
He's hungry right now, isn't he?
He wants it bad.
Bosher punts it away. Good kick. Spiraling deep. Alexander, fair catch, drops it, and now picks it up. But he can't run with it. He called a fair catch, and so it'll be the Packers football right around the 15-yard line. There's a flag on the play, too. This is back near the punter. So let's wait on this.
Yeah, I think the early indication of holding against Green Bay.
Holding, number 98, for the receiving team. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
That'll move them back, but Green Bay will have the football with 2:45 to go in the half. And we'll be right back after this message from State Farm. Game on Thursday night. Aaron Rodgers today, 10 of 15, 100 yards, and a touchdown. As Green Bay has a 17-7 lead, 2:45 to go in this first half. They've got 1 timeout. Atlanta with 3. And they'll give it to Jamal Williams on the run, who powers his way out across the 10 to the 12. He's got a gain of 5 on first down. And we get another couple of flags here.
And if Atlanta's fortunate, they'll get this to be offsetting, because they usually catch the second guy. And what I saw was Devondre Campbell getting blocked late by, I believe, Lucas Patrick.
Unnecessary roughness, number 59 in the defense. 15 yards from the end of the play. First down.
as you were saying.
Offensive linemen, they like to finish people. Okay, when they block them, they want to get into the film room and have the coach go out of way to finish him, way to put him down. So they block to the echo of the whistle. So there's the blocking, and then at the end, Devondre Campbell takes offense, and who gets caught? Devondre Campbell.
Never ends up well for the second guy.
Second guy, usually, he's the one.
99.
Boy, does that change the field position now. With 2:19 to go. Plenty of time for Rodgers, who's back. Looking. Now he's going to come near side. And that was almost a pick six. Deion Jones had an opportunity, and there was nobody in front of him, but he couldn't hang on.
But I also think we're seeing the effects of these rookie receivers. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, number 83. Equanimous St. Brown, number 19. What Aaron Rodgers has always had in the past is when he moves outside of the pocket, his receivers, his veteran guys have known how to move with him and also make the bigger plays downfield that he likes. We're not seeing that from the young kids yet. They're still growing in this role, still learning it, and we're seeing Aaron having to check it down, and I think that's frustrating for him.
Four-man rush on second down. Rodgers goes to Cobb on the far side, hit immediately at the 30. After a few yards, it's going to bring up a third down. And that's going to wind us down to the 2-minute warning from Green Bay. So the Packers have themselves a 10-point lead. Davante Adams doing his thing, his 12th touchdown of the year, contributing to the Packers lead. Well, that streak almost ended. Deion Jones had an opportunity. I mean, that's just incredible. 353 straight passes without an interception. Brady's record, only 5 more passes, and Rodgers will get there. And we showed you before, you know, as far as Rodgers throwing away the ball, there's been a lot of talk about that. What's the problem? Is it rather than throw it up for grabs and throw the interception, he takes care of it.
Risk averse sometimes leads to bigger plays later.
3rd and 6. Blitz coming. Rodgers in trouble again. His hand is held. Trying to get away. Flags fly. Rodgers running. First down and more. Down near midfield. So it's a first. But let's see what the penalties are.
Those flags were in the secondary, weren't they? Typically, those are holding calls in the secondary.
Charles, in a game where the Packers use their first two, well, there are only 2 challenges the first minute and a half, I have no idea what's going to happen.
That's a great point.
Let's just, we'll see.
I thought the Packers would run the football a lot today. Shows what we both know.
There are 2 different flags. There's one on the far side on the 40. There was another one around midfield. Actually, that's at the other side on the 40.
There are 2 fouls on the defense. Illegal contact, number 34. That penalty's declined. Defensive holding, number 20. That penalty was accepted. 5 yards from the end of the play. First down.
So they'll take the 16-yard run by Rodgers. They'll add 5, and just like that, they're in Falcons territory.
So it's the second holding call on the day against the Falcons. That's Isaiah Oliver out of Colorado. And he grabs Jimmy Graham, number 80, going downfield, and they detected that one. And that happens a lot when Aaron Rodgers extends plays, and you're just trying to keep up with the receiver.
On first down, Rodgers gets rid of it quickly, has a completion. And it's Cobb, but that's not going to go very far. Oliver was there on the contact. Plenty of time still with 1:40. Packers do have a timeout. Keep in mind, Falcons, a couple tough penalties. That was not a great one. The one that negated the big Julio Jones play.
And don't forget, Green Bay gets the ball to start the 3rd quarter after deferring on the coin toss.
So big sequence here on second down. Rodgers has all day. Looking, now running, throwing on the run, and he's got a completion and a first down. It is Adams who's got the catch. And now that play took a while with Rodgers trying to make something happen, so they'll hurry to the line.
But it's still actually one of the better outcomes for Atlanta you can get. When he extends that much time, usually there's a big pass downfield. They still kept it well underneath.
Rodgers, pressure coming. Rodgers is sacked. Back at midfield, Vic Beasley was there first. It's the 3rd Atlanta sack. And now a timeout on the field.
I think watch the inside here. Watch Crawford, 95, push the pocket, and then watch Beasley. But it actually came from the backside. That was 98 on that one. That's Tack McKinley, I believe, number 98 for Atlanta. He really pushed everything for Aaron Rodgers, and Beasley was able to be the beneficiary of the whole deal.
Beasley had a fumble return touchdown against Baltimore last week, but you're right, McKinley certainly contributed there. So the timeout was called by Atlanta because now with Green Bay with a 2nd and long, Falcons are hoping maybe to get the ball back here. You know, it bears repeating too, Charles. These Falcons have not been good rushing the passer this year, but as we said in the first quarter, Green Bay is playing without not 1, not 2, but 3 starting offensive linemen today.
And I truly expected them to run the ball more because Atlanta's really struggled against the run all year long. But because of those 3 offensive linemen coming in, I get the sense that Joe Philbin thought they were better pass protectors and continued to throw the football at a big rate.
4-man rush this time. Rodgers rolling, looking, just going to run a lot of room. Rodgers inside the 30, gets decked as he slides to the ground right around the first down. And now a scuffle is going to break out, protecting their quarterback.
And really, there should not be a scuffle on it, but I understand why emotions get high. Aaron Rodgers went down late, and the tackle was being launched as he was going into his slide. But Lucas Patrick took offense as an offensive lineman would, taking care of his quarterback, and that started everything off.
Well, they're going to sort through this. Rodgers, I believe, on the actual run was about a yard shy of the first.
See, as he's going down, Poole's already launching. So this is not this should not be a penalty on Brian Poole in my estimation. He's late getting down on the ground. And Poole's already making the play. And then, of course, an offensive lineman is going to take up for his quarterback. And now we start the pushing and shoving and the gesticulating from both sides.
Listen, Lucas Patrick is a 2nd-year guy. He did make a couple starts last year, but he's playing today. He's trying to, you know.
See? I mean, and Brian Poole is taking his head out of the play. That's a shoulder into the side of Aaron Rodgers. The crowd's not going to like it, and understandably so. But I see nothing wrong with the play Brian Poole made.
There are fouls on both teams. Personal foul, number 63 offense. Personal foul, number 45 defense. Those penalties all set at the end of the play. First down.
So they did, you know, Walt Coleman did say first down. I thought the initial signal was that Rodgers did not get there, but apparently he did. And now let's bring in Dean Blandino. Dean, you agree, no, this should, as they called it, no call here. What do you think about this hit on Rodgers?
Well, I think from a timing perspective, it's not late. It's a late slide, and you can still hit the quarterback or any runner when they slide, as long as you don't hit him in the head, neck, or initiate with the helmet. That's the only question I have. Did he lower the head and initiate with the helmet? It's close. I think you could have had a flag for that, but it's not late.
Yeah, Dean, I think that what ended up happening on it was there could have been some head in the slow motion, but in real time, he was trying to turn his shoulder, and it was a late slide by Aaron Rodgers. So I'm with you. To me, there never should have been a flag on that part of the play.
Absolutely. In real time, the official has to make that call. It's a bang-bang play. In slow motion, we certainly can see more of it once we start to go frame by frame.
So they initially, again, Walt Coleman said first down, but the initial ruling was that he was short, and now they do move it back to a 3rd and 1, Charles.
Yes.
I think they're also making sure the clock is right. It says 26 seconds to go in the half. Packers now back in field goal range. They do have one timeout. And now what's going on? Dan Quinn calls a timeout. This game has been anything but normal. And so the Falcons call their 2nd timeout. And why they do that, why don't we check in with Kurt Menefee?
Coming up on the Visa halftime, the Chiefs look to clinch a playoff berth as they host the Ravens. The Colts battle the Texans down in Houston. And the Patriots try to wrap up the AFC East title against the Dolphins. Be sure to join us. You never know who's going to drop on by.
We're looking forward to that, Kurt. And if we go back to the end of the play, right? Lucas Patrick gets the penalty, taking care of his quarterback, correct? But that would have been 15 yards against Green Bay. But Deion Jones comes into the play late, number 45, just back from injury last week. And once he gets involved, watch him come over the top right here. That's where we have the 2nd flag. Now we have offsetting after the play's over, so the play stands. But that would have been 15 against Green Bay if Deion Jones doesn't come over the top.
All that said, 3rd and 1. 26 seconds left in the half. Rodgers in trouble. Gets away. Still running. Taken down for another Atlanta sack. Bruce Irvin was there to bring Rodgers down. The 4th Falcon sack. And Green Bay does have a timeout here. And they're probably going to wait till it goes down to about 4 seconds to call it and try a field goal.
That's great hustle play by Bruce Irvin, who they picked up as a free agent from Oakland this year. Remember, he'd been in Seattle to begin his career. But watch Irvin coming here from the sprinter stance. Look at him working on David Bakhtiari, one of the best left tackles in the game. But look at him just stay with it and run down Aaron Rodgers as he flushes out of the pocket. Nice hustle play, nice effort play by number 52, Bruce Irvin.
First sack as a Falcon since they signed him. And so Mason Crosby will have a chance to add to the Green Bay lead. It'll be a 48-yard field goal attempt, the final play of this half. This kick is up, and it is good. Mason Crosby 2 for 2 in this half, and Green Bay will go to the break with a 20-7 lead over the Falcons in Joe Philbin's Packers head coaching debut. The play of the first half presented by DirecTV. More for your thing, that's our thing. Here it is. Rashad Breeland with the interception return for a touchdown, 22 yards. And then the Lambeau leap, one of the big ones here in this half, as Breeland with the defensive touchdown. Rodgers has a touchdown to Devontae Adams. Adams is 12th of the year. And then Mason Crosby with 2 field goals today. The last one from 48 yards out. And so we go to the break with a 20-7 Green Bay lead here in the cold of Lambeau Field. It's been a strange half in some ways. The Packers challenged 2 plays the first minute and a half. They lost both of them, but they do have a 20-7 lead. Halftime show coming. Let's go to Kurt Menefee.
Change coming. I'm feeling the ground moving. Right here, it's happening now. Yeah, it found me. Now, there's change coming.
That was today's game flow, brought to you by Progressive as we get set to start the second half here from Lambeau Field. 20-7. The Packers 20 unanswered in front of the Falcons right now. And we welcome you to the broadcast booth. Charles Davis, I'm Kevin Burkhardt. We've seen some penalties. And I know you've been dying to show us the boxing gloves all year. So what's going on here?
Well, you know, the defensive backs, we saw a couple against Atlanta. A lot of times defensive back coaches will put their guys in boxing gloves in practice so they can't grab and hold and try and get them out of that habit. So they put them on them and do that. Mike Pettin, the defense coordinator of the Packers, says he threatened a couple of his guys with them this year, hasn't used them so far. But they have a second purpose. Dan Quinn, the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, often shows his guys UFC and boxing matches to give them inspiration and toughness and having to grit it out. Guess what? They're going to have to fight this second half. It'll be a boxing match for the Falcons to try and come from down 17.
I'm about to find out what they've got. Damon Moore has the kick return, and that's where Green Bay will start just shy of their 30. Down to the field with Pam Oliver.
Well, Kevin, it was a glass half full for Dan Quinn. He loved the fact that they were getting those sacks and pressures on Aaron Rodgers, but wasn't so happy with Rodgers' scrambling ability. He said, we can't let him hurt us in that regard. As for Joe Philbin, he was full of jokes when I talked to him coming out. He told me that as far as those challenges go, he says, well, you can't save them, and I just wanted to have a good time with those. And as far as Aaron Rodgers and those sacks goes, he said that we just got to block these guys up, plain and simple.
Yeah, 4 sacks for Atlanta. And here is Jones. Aaron Jones with a good run. And Charles, you now a late penalty at the end of this. Charles, you were calling for them to run the ball with Aaron Jones. They didn't really do it in the first half. Maybe this half they get to it a little here with a lead. Only 3 carries, 7 yards in the first half, as we see and wait for the penalty from Walt Coleman.
Personal foul, lowering the head and making contact. Number 15, number 27, number 20 of the defense. 15 yards, first down.
Walt Coleman calling out numbers like I did at the half when I said they were down 17 is 20-7. Okay, so my math skills not too terrific, but right there at the end of the play, they're talking about this is a penalty that we talked about all preseason, didn't we, Kevin? That we were wondering how it would affect the game, and DeMonte KZ, number 27, leading with the head. Helmet-to-helmet contact right there. The officials detecting it.
Dean Blandino said it's kind of been visible there for a while, but they're starting to call it more the last couple of weeks, so it's been a point of emphasis, and we get one there. Here is Rodgers. Standing in, pressure again, breaks through, another penalty flag. He's got Graham, but he could not connect with Jimmy Graham. We get a penalty. We have an injured Packers lineman, too. And they certainly don't need that with 3 other starters already out.
Holding number 54, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's on Aluakon. Justin McCray, the right guard, he is the one down.
He was already filling in for Byron Bell, who's inactive today. And you see right here, Aluakon right there, grabbing Jimmy Graham.
That's the penalty injury for Green Bay. Back after this. Justin McCray, the right guard, limped off, and you see him walking around. I mean, the Packers came into this game without 3 starting offensive linemen, 3, and now there's another one out. And you see Alex Light coming in, the rookie from Richmond. So Adam Hankey, who they just signed the other day, well, he's the guy, the only one left on the offensive line on the bench right now. Here's first down for Aaron Rodgers. After the throw is going to dump it off to Jones. Stiff arm, nice play, first down. So Aaron Jones, who was quiet in the first half, a little more involved in this half, and the stiff arm of Aluakon.
I just always think it's a mistake that he doesn't touch the ball more. When he touches it, good plays happen downfield, whether he's running it or catching it. Nice straight arm on Aluakon, and look how he finishes the run, getting upfield and extending his body.
Well, I asked Joe Philbin that question. I said, hey, how many touches does he need? He said, well, between receiving and rushing, I'd like to get him 20. He's got 5.
They're not even close to that.
Look 58! Look 58!
Go to him again. Why not? They'll make it 6. So clearly it was talked about at the half as the 3rd touch so far on this drive. McCray is back in, so that's good news for Green Bay because he was already subbing for the injured Byron Bell.
And he's a former starter for Green Bay. So McCray has experience with the guys in the offensive line. Next to Corey Lindsley, number 63, the center. Brian Bulaga not playing at right tackle, but they used to form the right side of the offensive line before they ended up making a change with Byron Bell.
Blitz coming. Rodgers in trouble. Rodgers gets away somehow, still alive. And now he just tries to sling it out of bounds, and he does. All kinds of pressure on Aaron Rodgers, and all told, it's an incomplete pass. But we get a penalty way down the field inside the 10 now.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, number 45, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's on Deion Jones. That is the 6th defensive penalty, Charles, on Atlanta. 5 of them have given Green Bay a first down.
See Deion Jones rotating over with Jimmy Graham, and he tries to chuck him or shuck him. But remember, you have 5 yards from the line of scrimmage as your contact zone. He was well beyond that when he came across and did that. And that, of course, helped out Green Bay. And how about Aaron Rodgers? Normally we think that's like a Ben Roethlisberger play. Hard to get a big guy on the ground, and he goes it away and saves the sack. Aaron Rodgers just got it done.
Rodgers on the slant to Adams, incomplete. It Alford on the coverage. Adams was open. Rodgers missed him.
Good job in coverage there by Alford, Kevin. Remember earlier in the game when Alford got caught holding him on a similar route in a similar part of the field? This time he plays it well with good technique and forces the incompletion.
Rodgers on the day, 130 yards and a touchdown. That to Davante Adams, his 12th of the year, which, by the way, ties his career high.
And he hasn't touched it much lately. He's got one-on-one down here at the bottom.
Rodgers going the other way, looking incomplete for Jimmy Graham. Valdez-Scantling was in the area too, and Poole was there to knock it away.
Well, they had the size matchup you'd like. Jimmy Graham, 6'7", nearly 270 pounds. Watch him in number 80 in green. And Brian Poole at 5'11". Look how Poole elevates, gets in front of Graham, and makes it a very difficult throw. That's a good job by Brian Poole. You're not going to win the size battle, but he obscured him enough to make it a difficult catch.
258! 319!
3rd and 10. Blitz again from Atlanta. Rodgers stands in, throwing, going end zone. It's a touchdown. Randall Cobb.
So Cobb right here, number 18, works, and he goes out and then turns it upfield against Sherrod Neesmith, a safety who is much better against the run than he is against the pass, especially when Aaron Rodgers is dropping this dime right over his shoulder into the arms of his veteran receiver and trusted target, number 18, Randall Cobb.
Old, reliable Randall Cobb. He's had injury issues this year. He's missed 6 games with a hamstring, but delivering there his 2nd touchdown of the season. And the first one since opening week against the Bears. Extra point is up and good. Aaron Rodgers with a beauty. 24 yards to Randall Cobb. Right there. And the Packers are rocking and rolling. 27 unanswered for Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers having fun today as his Packers are rolling. 27 unanswered points. And he also set a new NFL record. He now has 359 pass attempts without an interception, which is incredible. So Rodgers 2 touchdowns today, which makes him on the year 23 touchdowns, Charles, and 1 interception.
He had a scare though, right?
He did.
Deion Jones early in the 2nd quarter, but he got it done. That's phenomenal, and it's 359 and counting.
It's really amazing. Here's Hall on the kick return. In December, Aaron Rodgers, what has he done at home? Now, look, he's been pretty awesome. I know last week they lost 16-2. He actually lost his first December home start, too. So he had a 16-in-a-row streak in there. 44 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, make it now 46 touchdowns, 5 interceptions at December here at Lambeau Field. So just awful numbers for Aaron Rodgers.
Not bad for a California kid. How about that?
We talked to him yesterday at practice. He said, you know what, I have the hand warmer on. You got the helmet on. You're fine. Speak for yourself.
Exactly like Pam said. Pam Coleman said in the first half. I don't know what you're talking about. Just cold up.
See if the Falcons have an answer here. And right now, off the bat, they don't. Fackrell with a good tackle. You think about this, Charles. Atlanta went down the field in the opening drive. Now, granted, a couple controversial calls and scored a touchdown. They went down on the next drive, and then Ryan got sacked, fumbles. It was, technically he just dropped the ball, and then a miss of a long field goal, and they haven't done a thing since.
I mean, look at the numbers. First drive, 75 yards, touchdown. The last 4 drives, 54 yards total. They did miss a field goal attempt there with Matt Bryant and a pick 6. Which highlighted what Green Bay's defense was doing.
Julio Jones had 4 catches for 69 yards in the first quarter. Nothing since. This is a good run, though, by Tevin Coleman, who's going to at least make it a 3rd down and short. And I do think this is an interesting point for Atlanta. They were 4-4. They looked like they were ascending. They, all of a sudden they hit the wall. They lose 4 in a row. And they're getting their butts beat in here today. So I'm sure Dan Quinn is trying to see what kind of response his team has.
And they preach fighting and toughness all the time and battling. This is a great time to put it on display.
3rd down. 4-man rush on a step. Matt Ryan is sacked. Clay Matthews came on the game, and it worked to perfection.
So watch Matthews, as you noted, Kevin, working the game, comes upfield, lets Kenny Clark go first, and then he clears back inside. And Ty Sambrello, number 74, struggling in his first start there. Not all on him. Who was going to pass off to whom? And Clay Matthews found his target, number 2, Matt Ryan.
Matt Bosher will punt it away. High, spiraling thing. Alexander fumbled the football. Who got it back? He got it back himself. So Alexander, that could have been a big turning point, but instead Alexander jumps on it. Aaron Rodgers having himself some fun. His team up by 20. Well, the Atlanta offense got off to a great start. They scored on their opening drive. They went right down the field pretty much, and since then they have not done much at all. And you see Matt Ryan's numbers, just the big sack by Clay Matthews. Now Green Bay up by 20 after 27 unanswered points with the football one more time.
319! 319!
Aaron Jones nowhere to run. Steven Means with a heck of a play. Well, Charles, I know you're going to like this. You had the boxing gloves out before, right? Twin brothers defending their titles in a huge night of championship fights on Fox. Jermall Charlo takes on Willie Monroe Jr., while Jermell Charlo, I can assure you they're not the same person. They're twins. Jermell will defend his belt against Tony Harrison. PBC, December 22nd, only on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
Not bad. Both of them carrying belts.
It's pretty good.
And not having to fight each other.
I know.
They're like the Klitschko brothers.
Straight left.
319! 319 up.
Here is Rodgers. Over the middle, incomplete. Deion Jones has had his hands on a couple of them today. It'll bring up a third down.
So you bring up the interception, not throwing an interception streak, and you put him immediately in jeopardy.
It's like throwing the field goal graphic on the screen.
Nice job by Jones reading, and then how about triggering and going for the football? He sees it, and look at how fast he moves for it. This is what Atlanta was missing when he was out with the broken foot and missed 10 ball games.
A third down at 14. Come with a 3-man rush this time. Rodgers stands in, and he's got a first down. Beauty to Davante Adams, who came across and picks up the first that has 16 yards.
For that route to develop, Aaron Rodgers had to have excellent protection to allow him the time. And look at what they do. No one near him able to step up and make the throw with anticipation. Excellent hands catch by Davante Adams. Alford almost knocks it free, and Adams retains the football.
Jake Kumro in the game for the first time. Number 16, he had an unbelievable preseason, active for the first time last week. They're going to swing it around, and Jones, well, that was dangerous. Try to get a little trickery going to Jones, but Sherrod Niesman was right there. Charles was saying about Kumro, we've been talking about these young receivers. He's been on IR most of the year. He was a star in the preseason. They think he could be something here.
He caught 6 passes in the preseason, which doesn't sound like a whole lot. But when you average 31.7 yards, that's a heck of a preseason and a fan favorite. Remember, he came out of Wisconsin Whitewater, Division III school, and the fans loved what he did in the last couple preseasons. And Aaron Rodgers really likes him as a target.
Second down. Rodgers looking that way. Now comes back to Jones. Has some blocking. Aaron Jones makes a move. Aaron Jones to midfield. 15 yards to Aaron Jones. He got a couple of good blocks up front as well.
So a screen to the left doesn't work, but they're not daunted. They come back with a screen to the right. Watch Joe Philbin and watch this guy, Aaron Jones. Just steps up, and now out in front, McCray, 64 right here. Look at Lindsley, 63. And then watch Jones with the vision, cutting back inside to allow Lucas Patrick to serve as a little bit of a shield as he gets upfield. One more time, Kevin. Aaron Jones needs to touch the ball more in this Green Bay offense.
Always making things happen. Give it to him here on the run. Jones sprinting through. Aaron Jones. As you were saying, Charles Davis, he's electrifying at another Packers first down with 14 yards.
And what a nice job there, because not only did the O-line do a nice job, they actually went with a 2-back formation with Jamal Williams, number 30, as a lead blocker. Look at Williams right there helping lead. Nice blocking right there, and then all the way through. And look how he finishes the run against Deion Jones, who was a Pro Bowl middle linebacker last year.
Joe Philbin's got me thinking, this head coaching thing is easy.
How about first-time play calling as well?
Also easy. On first down, they will run it again. Jones tries to reverse field, slips, and not much there. Tack McKinley had the play. Game break time. Let's check in with Carissa Thompson.
Thanksgiving Saints looking to get their offense going, trailing 14-3 in Tampa. Play action, Drew Brees finds fullback Zach Line for the 1-yard score. Saints still trailing 14-9.
You know, the Bucks beat the Saints the last time they played them, Charles.
Season opener.
Yep.
Outscored them in New Orleans. Everybody thought this was a revenge game. This Tampa Bay team is playing better over the last few weeks of this season.
Green 18! Green 19 out!
Oh, that cadence works, and there is contact, so they'll blow the play dead. At least I think it was on Atlanta jumping.
Encroachment, number 94, defense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Well, there is the playoff picture. The Saints, they beat the Rams, but a game back, and if they lose, the Rams, and they must be licking their chops. They've got a tough game tonight with Chicago, but they've got an easy schedule the rest of the way after that.
Saints were trying to get it back to where they're tied with the same number of losses because they own the tiebreaker head-to-head with their win earlier this year in New Orleans.
So that is important.
How about Seattle and Minnesota going at it Monday night?
I'm going to throw this out there, too. It's Jones. Aaron Jones trying to go all the way. Touchdown. Give that man the ball.
Watch this side of the Packers line. Look at Spriggs, 78, McCray, 64, Lindsley, 63. All of them matched up on a defender, and that thing opened up so easily. And Aaron Jones sifted his way and then sprinted his way into the end zone. Look at this.
29 yards on the touchdown run, Aaron Jones. 34 unanswered here for the Packers. 5 straight games with a rushing touchdown for Aaron Jones. You see in the first half, he didn't get it much. Only 3 carries, 7 yards, and Charles basically begged Green Bay to give it to him. They listened to Charles, and he's had success.
I think it goes back to something you mentioned early, that starting the game throwing the balls Green Bay did, which was their strategy. Maybe they want Jamal Williams in the ball game for pass protection. But as the game has moved on, giving the ball to Aaron Jones has worked quite well. And he's also caught the ball out of the backfield, too.
Hall's going to take it out of the end zone. He gets right around where he would have been anyway. Coming up next, a huge game on America's Game of the Week, as Carson Wentz and the Eagles taking on Dak and Ezekiel Elliott and the Cowboys. It's a showdown for first place in the NFC East. Cowboys won in Philly a couple weeks ago. So the Cowboys win, they could drop the hammer on Philadelphia and the division. But an Eagles win, they're all tied with the same record, and that would change everything. Action on Fox, on the Fox Sports app. Here's what happened the last time Elliott had a monster day. Van Der Esch, a big game, and made the game-saving tackle, too. Cowboys have won 4 in a row since that game. Here are the Falcons. We're up 7-0 at one point, down 34-7 at this point. And, Charles, I think when you talk to Dan Quinn like we did today, and the Falcons are going to go fast here, he did not shy away from their losing streak, right? He told us, I addressed it. There's 2 ways to do it. I addressed it head on. We talked about it a lot. Here's Ryan on the fake. That's time. Ryan stands in. Flag comes in from the secondary as the throw to Jones is incomplete. But I'm curious, Dan Quinn, his thinking right now about what he's seeing.
Pass. Holding, number 37, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And before we get to Dan Quinn, it's interesting. We talked about the boxing gloves at the half about holding. Josh Jackson is one of those players. Mike Pettin, the defense coordinator, threatened with putting boxing gloves on in practice because he tends to hold and grab a lot. And you see right there, he grabs right off the top. And a lot of it is just technique, Kevin. He gets beat early, he panics, and he reaches and grabs. Back to the Falcons as you go on.
Pressure on that to get rid of it, incomplete. He had no chance as Matthews was coming in with the pressure.
Matthews with the pressure, and Blake Martinez was right on the coverage. So watch here, 52, and watch 50. They work in tandem, in concert. Matthews with the force, and then Martinez is right there just in case Saubert does catch the football. He's right in the teeth of it, and Ryan just trying to get rid of it.
They'll run it up to the 40 is Ito Smith. But getting back to Atlanta, Dan Quinn said, look, I called out 10 or 12 leaders in the room. So how does he react to this?
That's going to be a difficult one because he told them, this is what I'm seeking, guys. Leadership from you as a team, a much better turnover margin. That hasn't been the case today. And relentless on and off-field effort. I don't know how he's going to grade that with the score being what it is. But the other part is, with this offense struggling so much, we haven't seen Julio Jones make a play in a long time. Haven't been able to get the ball to their #1 guy.
Julio Jones hasn't had a catch since the first quarter when he had 4 of them for 69 yards. That's him in motion. 3rd and 4. Ryan back. He's trying to change that. Sanu makes a catch and then makes a great move. 1st down and more. Mohamed Sanu down near the 32, but a penalty all the way back near the quarterback here. Clay Matthews is saying, hey, that's coming back.
He believes he drew a holding call.
Holding, number 70, offense, 10-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
And even more important, Kevin, who did he draw it off of?
Pretty funny.
That would be Clay Matthews' cousin, Jake Matthews. Boy, they'll be having a lot to talk about during the holidays and the next family get-together, won't they?
You know, Mike Pettin was talking to us about Clay Matthews, and he said, you know, I give him a lot of credit. I know it's been a frustrating year for him because, quite honestly, I haven't let him rush the passer as much. I've dropped him back to help us cover up for the deficiencies in the back end, and he's been great about it. But he's obviously had an impact in this second half, rushing the passer. Doing it again. So is everybody else. Ryan's going to take advantage. He's got Julio Jones deep, and he can't get there. Incomplete. He had a step on Jair Alexander, but Jones could not catch up to it, and Atlanta will have to punt it away.
I see Jair Alexander taking in the crowd noise and feeling like this imagination, but if this ball's well thrown, he's beat. I mean, you know, I understand being excited. I get it. You're a rookie. You're happy. Your team's doing well. But if that ball's thrown in the right spot, Julio Jones is sprinting for the end zone.
As Bosher punts, and a fair catch is called for by Randall Cobb. You think about it, Charles, you go back not too long ago, right? These teams were in the NFC Championship game. It was the final game of the Georgia Dome. 2016, it was Matt Ryan, the Falcons offense, which was #1 in the league all year, and they were #1 in this game. They rolled. Julio Jones had a monster game in that one with a long touchdown and a 44-21 win for Atlanta. Of course, they went on and lost in the Super Bowl to New England. But since that game, these two teams have really struggled, and they've got, obviously, we know about their star power, but man, that was the result that day, 44-21. But you move on, and it's really been mediocre for both. Falcons are 15-16, and a penalty, and another one.
False
Shocker.
start, number 89, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
But was just showing you the records. Falcons are a game under 500 coming into today since that game. Packers 11-16-1 since that. Now, a caveat is that Aaron Rodgers missed most of the year last year. So take that into account. But you get the idea. It wasn't too long ago, and these teams have struggled to find themselves since.
You almost want, since we're having so much boxing today, Ali, Frazier, their third fight to throw in Manila, neither won the same after that. A titanic clash.
So it's first down for the Packers. It's been their day, and Rodgers going for more. Trying to get it to Davante Adams, couldn't get it there, and it'll be a second down. You know, a moment ago we showed Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons, on the left. Thomas Dimitroff is on your right, but a big night for Arthur Blank, also the owner of the Atlanta United, who won the MLS Cup last night. Really an amazing story. Their attendance all year was sensational.
They set another record last night, over 73,000 there. And how about that? They swept it all. The league MVP was also the finals MVP. A huge win in front of the home crowd. Their first MLS title. Congratulations to Mr. Blank and the organization.
Blank made it here for the game. So he has last night, he sees a joyous night in Atlanta and the MLS Cup, and now that cup of coffee probably doesn't taste so good because it's 34-7.
Yeah, not exactly what he's been looking for this entire season. Green Bay wanting to go quickly now.
3rd and 12. As Charles, the wave is going here at Lambeau.
I didn't know it was still done.
Listen, Green Bay, we talk about tradition. We talk about old school.
Definitely old school.
The wave lives. 3rd and 12. 4-man rush. Rodgers has time. Going to throw incomplete. He wanted a penalty on Adams, who was looking for one but did not get one. Oliver on the coverage, and instead Green Bay will punt it away. Quinn liking the effort there.
There it is. You know, the wave started on the West Coast, you know. It's a Pac-12 thing before it moved across the rest of the country. I believe University of Washington.
I think it's important to realize that here at Lambeau, you sit on the metal bleachers.
You don't mind getting up.
And your backside gets a little cold when it's 20 degrees out.
Wave's a good thing.
I think it's very functional. J.K. Scott will punt it away. Love it, having some fun at Lambeau as the Falcons will take over down 34-7, and we'll be right back 30 seconds after this message. One of my favorite shows, Charles. Seth MacFarlane, great first season. Can't wait for season number 2 as we look at Matt Ryan. Got off to a red hot start, and he and the offense have been quiet since. Ryan stands in, and he's got a completion to Julio Jones, yard shy of a first down. Game break with Kurt Menefee.
All right, Ryan Tannehill putting the Dolphins in front of the Patriots. Yes, 23-yard touchdown pass to Bryce Butler, making it 28-27 late in the third quarter. Kevin, Charles, and Pam.
Is there some kind of kryptonite down in Miami for the Patriots or something?
There certainly is.
They never play well there as a first down for Atlanta. Coleman on the carry.
But they're going for another division title.
The 10th in a row.
New England finds a way late.
By the way, looking around the scoreboard, the Bucs still beating the Saints by 3. The Giants are up on the Redskins by 40. 40.
Did you say 40?
4-0.
And Washington has not scored.
Giants are playing pretty well since the bye, by the way. And also the Colts up 10 on the Texans, who have won 9 games in a row. So that's an upset in the making as the Colts are trying to make a playoff push. Here's Ryan. Eric Salpert, the third tight end, makes the catch into Green Bay territory with a minute and a half to go in the third quarter.
A nice big arm there by Blake Martinez in the open field. Salpert had a chance for a one-on-one move after the catch, and he got just enough of his foot to knock him to the ground.
Hughes came next. Eagles, Cowboys on Fox. In the NFC East, Cowboys can really take control of the division. They already beat Philadelphia. If the Eagles win, those teams are tied. Trying to throw again. Far side again. Salpert again. First down. Eric Salpert, had 3 catches all year, has 2 in a row here in Green Bay.
Yeah, they like his potential. He came out of Drake. They call him a move tight end. The guy who can move all over the place, can run routes in open space. Just 30 offensive snaps in 2017. continues to get more and more playing time.
Ito Smith in the game at tailback. They'll run it to Smith. Cutting back. Ito Smith. Good. Ooh. Ito Smith inside the 30. It's a first down. And a penalty comes at the end of the play. Getting sick of saying that today.
Holding, number 51, offense, 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Still first down.
That's a second on Alex Mack today, who's one of the better centers in football.
You're not going to get that very often. We talked to the Packers defense coordinator Mike Pettin, who coached him in Cleveland. He said Alex Mack is the best center in the NFL. So with all the offensive line issues that Atlanta's had this year, he is not one of them. But his second holding call in this one today.
By the way, Ben Garland is in at right guard. He had been the starter till last week. Zane Beadles started. But Beadles is now out. Garland is in. Garland's been in a few times in the jumbo package, but now in every play. Ryan the throw over the middle. And it's incomplete. He's trying to get it to Hooper. Jackson. Josh Jackson, another one of these young secondary guys for Green Bay.
6-foot defensive back. There's Mike Pettin. Back in coaching, his defensive coordinator. I think he's really enjoyed being back teaching and coaching again. Being a head coach is everyone's dream, but you don't usually get that on the field coaching day in, day out, the camaraderie in the meeting rooms. What did he liken it to? It was like being a teacher and getting promoted to principal, and now you got all the administrative paperwork and none of the fun with the people.
Second down, they will run it. Smith makes another good move and is close to another Atlanta first down. Will be a little bit shy, and that'll take us to the end of the quarter. A lot of Go Pack Go here today. Packers 34, Falcons 7, end of 3 from Lambeau. We start the fourth quarter from Lambeau Field in Green Bay. It's been all Packers. Atlanta scored on the opening drive, and then Green Bay rolled off 34 straight. Aaron Rodgers, 2 touchdowns, 187 yards. Bashad Breeland with an interception return for a touchdown. And you know what? It's cold, but the fans here are loving it. Lambeau packed again. Atlanta just trying to get some momentum going. They've lost 4 in a row, and after a good start have been invisible. Third down and 1. They go extra offensive lineman here. They're going to hand it off to Ito Smith, and he gets buried. Clay Matthews has had a big second half.
And you mentioned Clay Matthews having to drop into coverage a lot more, but he's also done a really nice job playing the run. Look at him stalemate his cousin. And you see how he extended his arms? And he got lower, Kevin. See how he got low and got his legs going and got his arms extended so he can push his cousin away from him and then go make the tackle.
Clay is getting the best of that matchup today. Fourth down, Atlanta's going for it. Why not? Blitz coming. Picked up. Ryan spots Ito Smith, first down. Well done by Atlanta. They picked up the blitz, and Ito Smith did the rest as Atlanta continues.
He's given him a little bit of a spark, hasn't he? Ito Smith, number 25. And you know, by now everyone knows he was nicknamed Ito because of Judge Lance Ito. His 4-year-old cousin saw him and said he looked like that as a baby. Turned out Judge Lance Ito was quite an athlete too in high school. He was actually the athlete of the year in his high school. Tennis player.
Here is Sanu. Only Charles Davis would dig up the stats on Lance Ito's athletic prowess.
The judge.
I mean, you are unbelievable.
You know, I did a little bit of reading.
You know, it's interesting, though, because Ito would have never saw the field this year if Devontae Freeman was healthy. Let's face it. Freeman's been out all year. Falcons get it into the end zone to Julio Jones for the touchdown. Second on the game for Julio.
And that's part of the learning experience for Jair Alexander's having a very nice rookie season. Look at the cushion he gives him. And then he backs off just enough for space. And when you're going to go for the football, if you don't come up with it, Secretary's just going to take it and turn upfield into the end zone. He did a nice job with too much cushion, but he did a nice job initially not backing off. And then when he took that one drop step, that was just enough space to fit that ball in.
Extra point, doinks off and through for Matt Bryant. And so the Falcons have their first point since the opening drive touchdown. Both of those have gone to Julio Jones. This one from 12 yards out, but it's still Green Bay by 20. Well, Julio Jones likes playing at Lambeau. He's only done it twice. First time was pretty good, Charles. 259 receiving yards and a touchdown. That was back in 2014. Today he was quiet for the middle of the game, but still his first 2-touchdown game of the year. And he could have had another one. He was wide open on a deep ball, but Matt Ryan couldn't connect with him. And so Julio Jones doing his part, but the Falcons still down by 20. Try to reset the ball on the tee. Aaron Rodgers had himself a good day to this point. So is that man, Joe Philbin. He was honest with it. Say, it's tough. He's friends with Mike McCarthy, right?
Yes.
A hard week, emotional for him. But how good does he feel right now?
But he understands it totally. He got fired as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, and the coordinator Mike Pettin fired in Cleveland.
For more on Joe Philbin, why don't we go down and check in with Pam Oliver?
And Kevin, Joe Philbin has 4 specific points that he feels can help a team, any team, including the Green Bay Packers. 1, be professional. 2, be accountable with what you do and don't do. 3, respect people in and out of the building. And 4, be punctual. You do those things and you won't have any problem with him.
You know, Pam, that strikes into what Aaron Rodgers told us as well about the details, right? And getting back to that, and getting back to basics and fundamentals, even back to the stance that you take before a play starts. Everybody trying to get back to the basics to get this team better.
Green Bay will run it to Aaron Jones. Not much there as we get a game break. Checking in with Kurt Menefee. Kurt.
On 4th and goal, Drew Brees, we've seen that before, just jumps up, sticks it over. That's the first time, not only have the Saints led today at Tampa, but it's their first lead since week 12 against the Falcons. Kevin?
So New Orleans back in front on the 4th and goal. We'll keep tabs of that game. Thanks, Kurt. Appreciate that. 2nd down and 9 for Green Bay. 13 minutes to go from Lambeau.
Green 18! Green 18!
Into the edge is Jones, then he gets decked by Casey. Charles, more on Philbin. You know, you talked about it. He got fired in Miami, right? Did not go well there. He was here in Green Bay, and off their performance, he got hired there. You know, Pam asked him, "Hey, you want this job, don't you?" He wouldn't go there.
No, he would not. All he talked about was what has to happen right now, right here. And I'm quite sure because, as he told us, I've been in that spot before getting fired. It's 2 things. 1, the focus has to be on this team and getting better immediately. And 2, his friend just got fired.
Yeah.
Last thing he wants to do is be out there campaigning and lobbying for a job that his friend just had to vacate.
Here we go. Green 19! Green 19!
As Rodgers tried to get the Falcons to jump there and instead calls timeout. Well, you talked about his friend. That is Mike McCarthy. In his 13th year, got let go after the game against Arizona. Look, this guy had a tremendous run here, right? I mean, there's a street named after him in Green Bay. You see what he's done, 8 straight playoffs. Obviously, they won a Super Bowl. Some amazing things, but, you know, when you don't perform, this is a performance league. And, you know, Charles, there's a lot of talk about, you know, how could they let him go middle of the season type thing. But, you know, in a way, I think it kind of worked out well with him getting to come back and talk to the team and really kind of have I thought, almost a fitting finish.
Yeah, and I just didn't think that, you know, the same rules apply in terms of letting him have his dignity of whatever. Could you imagine 4 weeks of, hey, Mike, what's going to happen at the end of the season? Hey, Mike, your team's not playing real well. I think it's probably best for the team and for Mike, if they were going to do it eventually, that they did it immediately.
Oh, big play to Devontae Adams. Flag 2. Adams into Falcon territory, down inside the 40. We'll see with the penalty, which was on the total opposite side of the field. Atlanta is saying it should go back the other way, but we'll see.
I think it is going to go that way.
What did he do? Pass interference, number 80, offense. 10-yard penalty. Still third down.
So watch Jimmy Graham, number 80 right here. You want to know what he did? Let's take a look. Yeah, he ran his route totally, altered his path. Watch Robert Alford. See how Graham makes the alteration to the path of his route and cuts inside and clips off Robert Alford? Offenses call that a rub route. Defenders call that a pick and illegal. And the officials detected it on that one.
I call it a Brutus beefcake. Little elbow from the top rope. And another penalty here. Rodgers is trying to question what the deal is, as it might be on Green Bay again. But Charles, I want to finish on McCarthy, though. You know, the thing is,
False start. Number 33 offense. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
Mike McCarthy had a great run here, right?
Fantastic.
He's an excellent head coach. If he wants to, he'll be a head coach next year. I firmly believe that. But sometimes you just need to move on. I mean, you know, having Andy Reid in Philadelphia, clearly he hasn't forgotten how to coach. Sometimes you just need to go on to the next thing, because it runs its course. 13 years in this league is an eternity.
You know, John Madden, the patron saint of Fox broadcasters, once talked about 10 years at a place is about the right amount of time. You know, sometimes you go plus or minus a little bit. He did 10 years in Oakland, retired, never came back. But for Mike McCarthy, there will be other opportunities. There will be other places, and he'll have a chance to have another run as like he did here in Green Bay.
And how classy is this by Mike McCarthy? On Saturday, he took out a full-page ad in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel and the Green Bay Press-Gazette, thanking the fans and the city of Green Bay. I mean, that's pretty great.
Pretty special, and he was the one who asked Joe Philbin, Brian Gutekunst, the GM, may I come back and address my staff one day and come back and address the team another day. And I think that was good for all concerned.
So the end of an era here in Green Bay. And we don't know Joe Philbin's going to be part of the new era, but for today and the next month, pretty good start. 34-14, they lead with 10:39 to go. Mike McCarthy way. That's right outside Lambeau, and that'll stay there. Julio Jones leads the NFL in receiving. Another year, over 1,400 yards, now 92 catches. Guy is just phenomenal. Today, 2 more touchdowns, 6 catches, 89 yards, but his Falcons down by 20 with 10:39 to play. Here's Ryan. Looks to throw it over the middle. Oh, Sanu almost hauled in a one-hander, but couldn't quite do the pirouette. Second down.
Would have been a tough one, because Matt Ryan tried to fit it over the top of the defender and a little bit behind Sanu as his body was moving in the opposite direction. That would have been a heck of a catch by Sanu. Look at him trying to reach back with one hand as he's moving in the opposite direction. See that? Right over the top of Breland. 26, he can't find the football. Ryan trying to put in a place where Sanu could get it, but his body taken off in the wrong spot.
Ryan, Sanu this time makes the catch and then works his way forward. Close to another first down. That will be an Atlanta first down. You know, Charles, I'm just going to throw this out there. I know it's a long shot. I'm just looking at the scoreboard. Cleveland's beating Carolina. The Saints are beating the Bucks. The Redskins are losing. Minnesota plays Monday night. Packers are not done yet. I know it's a long shot, but they're not done. They got a chance mathematically to still get in the postseason as Hooper makes his catch. Now look, they have to finish here and they have to win out, and they need a lot of help, but they're getting help today, and I'm just gonna say it.
You're not saying what you're just saying?
Exactly.
No, nothing more needs to be said. It's out there.
You know,
I like it.
Go, Justin, go.
Put it in the atmosphere.
And we've seen crazy things happen. Remember Rex Ryan going to the podium with the Jets saying we're out of the playoffs and finding out he's not, and then ended up advancing to the AFC Championship game in the same year. So you never know.
It's Brian Hill on the carry for Atlanta. Gets his first carry of the day.
Yeah, getting an opportunity to play fullback now for the Atlanta Falcons is Brian Hill, trying to find a spot for him, not just in the backfield, but on special teams. And his forte at Wyoming, where he was a running back, was straight ahead, thumping running inside.
That time he tries to make a block. It's bowled over, but does his job. Enough time to give Ryan the connection to Julio Jones. Will be a little shy of a first down.
Now, do you get a check mark for the block if you're Brian Hill? On that one, he got flattened on the play, but the defender didn't get there, and that allowed Matt Ryan to make that connection right there to Julio Jones. And one thing you notice about this Atlanta team, Kevin, they have not quit fighting in this game.
You talked about that. You raised that question.
They had a really bad stretch there, but they've gotten off the mat now. They're continuing to battle.
Ryan thinking end zone, going end zone. Can he get enough to Jones? No, incomplete. It was Breeland who was on the coverage, and a 3rd and 1. Most consecutive seasons with 1,400+ receiving yards. Julio Jones now has 5. That's the most ever.
And you know, in each of those 1,400-yard seasons, he's caught over 80 passes in each one of them. Pretty good list right there.
Falcons made that trade. They traded all those picks to move up and get him. Oh, that's a crazy move, some said.
Not some.
No.
Most.
That has been worth every penny. 3rd and 1, and the whistle blows. There's no play. Atlanta may have moved here.
False start, number 83, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Russell Gage with a rare appearance on offense. He only has 2 catches on the year. And so it'll be a 3rd and 6 now. The Darth Vader cheesehead, a holiday favorite in these parts. 3rd and 6.
See if Mike Pettin wants to bring a little pressure here.
Here it comes. Ryan in trouble. Gets away momentarily. Nice play to Ridley. And Calvin Ridley has a 1st down. What a play by Matt Ryan.
That was tremendous. Green Bay showed their hand early, had a chance to get out of the blitz, stayed with it, and then Matt Ryan, not known for his mobility, but I think as his career has gone on, I think that Kyle Shanahan influence has really kicked in. His mobility has increased, and he kept that play alive and picked up the 1st down with the throw to Ridley.
Ryan the throw, pressure again, gets it over the middle for a gain of 9. That's Hooper, the tight end. Matt Ryan. On the day, 20 of 30, 201 yards, and that puts him over 4,000 yards for the 8th consecutive year. Ryan throws, complete inside the 10 to Hardy. That's a 1st down for the Falcons. Another game break. Let's check in again with Kurt Menefee.
Well, a game that's huge in the AFC playoff picture, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. That's his 2nd touchdown pass of the game, completing it to John Brown. 9-yard score. They lead it by a touchdown inside the 2-minute warning at the currently #1 seeded Chiefs. Kevin, Charles, and Pam.
And the Patriots are now leading the Dolphins by 2. So, things getting interesting for that home field battle in the AFC.
A lot going on. And remember, the Chiefs and Chargers take on each other next week.
On 1st and goal, here's Ryan. Going to swing it out, and it's incomplete to Hardy. And a 2nd down and goal. But how about the Baltimore Ravens? Joe Flacco gets hurt, and Lamar Jackson. I don't know what their offenses look like today, but they're essentially running the ball 75% of the time, and they could be 4-0 if they win today with him.
It's darn near single wing. All right, with Lamar Jackson at quarterback, and they are making it work. He's getting 15 to 20 carries a game like he's a tailback, and it's working very well for them. I don't know that that's sustainable over time, but in the short term, it's like when Tim Tebow ran the Broncos into the playoffs that one year.
Yeah. Julio Jones, top of your screen against Jair Alexander. Instead, the ball is loose. Snap issues, and I think the Packers recovered. Did they get it? They did. Green Bay football.
So look at this. On the snap, Mohamed Sanu in motion. and the ball hits him and comes free, and the Packers take over.
Breeland recovered it. Matt Ryan upset. Finally had a nice drive going there, and look, it's not been their day, but you get a snap, goes off Sanu's leg.
That whole drive, you were pointing out records that they were setting. 8th straight 4,000 yards for Matt Ryan. Julio Jones over 1,400 yards. No touchdown payoff and no payoff on this season. Now at 4-8.
319.
Atlanta jumps. Rodgers had that cadence working earlier. I think he may have gotten another one.
Did you see Bakhtiari jump to make sure that the call was made?
Neutral zone infraction, number 56 defense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
He's so good with that. He told us he practices it. I mean, it's not by accident.
But didn't he tell us when we came earlier this year he has like 9 different cadences that he works on and incorporates throughout a ball game? So there's not just, you know, him jumping out there. There's an art to it, and transmitted to the team to be prepared for which cadence he wants to operate with.
319. 319 to Haaland. 58.
Here's Aaron Jones across the 15-yard line. A lot happening right now. Let's get another game break with Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Kevin. Letting you guys know what's coming up next. America's Game of the Week. The winner of this one, first place in the NFC East. Carson Wentz getting warmed up here. Dak Prescott hoping to keep his team rolling. The winner of 4 straight. It's all coming up next. Joe, Troy, and Aaron have the call. Kevin?
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, Cowboys win, and they're in the driver's seat in that NFC East. And the Eagles' schedule coming up afterwards is brutal, too. But if the Eagles win, they got the same record, and they're tied. And certainly changes things. How about this? Elliott, look at what he's done against 5 running backs for the for the Eagles. Elliott's just a horse. 1,572 scrimmage yards, and there you see the records. Dallas won in Philly a couple weeks ago. That started a Cowboys 4-game win streak. The Redskins are getting hammered by the Giants. They're about to be 6-7, and then let's face it, they're done. They're on their 3rd quarterback now.
Giants moving to 5-8, trying to get and finish up the season with an 8-8 record.
They're playing better.
And no Odell Beckham Jr. today either.
319.
Jones. Grady Jarrett makes sure he doesn't go anywhere. And a timeout by Atlanta. They call their second with 6.5 minutes to go here from Lambeau. So here are the remaining schedules. Cowboys will be at the Colts next week. Charles, we will be there. Looking forward to that. Colts are up by 10 on the Texans, who have won 9 in a row today. And then they've got the Bucks and the Giants. The Eagles' schedule is much more difficult.
But they want to give themselves a chance.
Here it is. Rams, Texans.
Yeah, at the Rams, home against Houston, at Washington to finish things off. But to give themselves a chance and be in the fray, today's a must-win for the Eagles.
Now, if you're a Packers fan, you want an Eagles loss, and you need the Seahawks to win and beat the Vikings tomorrow. And then this will be a heck of a week for you. 3rd down and 3.
319.
4-man rush. Rodgers hangs in near side. It's complete for a first down to Jimmy Graham.
And the Falcons trying to give themselves an opportunity, taking the timeouts on the first 2 downs. On 3rd down, needing this stop to get the ball back. And an excellent connection with Jimmy Graham. Working against Devondre Campbell. Picks up a key first down for Green Bay. And Atlanta's eating up their timeout cache.
319. 319. 258. 258.
Jones works his way for 3. See, now I feel like you talked about those 9 different cadences for Aaron. Now I feel like he's really going through it.
You know, when you're up 34-14, you're going to eat up clock. Take a look at the play clock, and let's see how savvy this quarterback is, right? When are they going to snap the football as he takes it down? Now with this lead. And hey, why not? If you got 9 different cadences, what's the fun in having them if you don't take them out for a spin every now and then? But he does like 319. I hear that a lot.
Flip. Triple. 319. 319.
Now the quick one. Here's Jones. Cut back. Nice one. Aaron Jones. Man, he is so quick on the cutbacks. And another Packer first down.
I'm going to have to ask him one day, are those his lucky numbers? Because when you watch games and hear it, that's one of his favorite numbers to bark, the combo of numbers to bark out. But what he really likes is handing it to number 33 and watch the vision and the cut. He saw the hole back there and immediately right foot in the ground, changes direction and gets upfield.
15 carries, 74 yards for Aaron Jones. And all but 3 of those in this second half.
58. 58.
Run it again, and that time has nowhere to go. Terrell McClain got a good push. Sorry, Charles.
No, go ahead. No, but he took it down to 3 seconds on the play clock. So he's well aware of what they're doing. Look at Aaron Jones's day, over 100 yards from scrimmage again. And I have to admit, when he runs the football, when I look at his yardage total at the end, it always seems less than what I thought he produced on the field, right? He had that big run for the touchdown. It always feels like he had more. So I said before the game, 20 carries. You said that Joe Philbin told us 20-plus touches. 19 touches on the game.
You know, I think Rodgers' cadence may have gotten his own guys.
78, offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
It never happens. That's on Spriggs, the backup who's playing today with Balaga out.
You think he's gone to Aaron and said, is that cadence 4 or was that cadence 7? Which one are we using? And Joe Philbin really getting into this play calling, but still has not mastered the art of deception in play calling because the play sheet stays down and doesn't come up and cover it. Like all the cool play callers in the league. All right, give me Twins right, 37, with it covered.
Are there people on the other sideline that are reading lips, do you think?
Listen, in this league, I don't doubt anything in trying to steal, and that's where the helmet has helped them without the stealing signs. Remember the old days?
Oh, of course. There's Aaron Jones up across the 28-yard line with 3:30 to go. And the Falcons use their final timeout here, trying to stay in this game. It is a 3-score game at this point for Atlanta, so this January on Fox, don't miss the new singing competition where Grammy winners, Emmy winners, and Hall of Famers perform in disguise. Can you figure out who's behind the mask? Nick Cannon hosts The Masked Singer, premiering January 2nd on Fox. Our director today is Artie Kempner, our producer Pete Macheska. It's 72 degrees and warm in the remote truck, Charles.
How about our great crew working the cameras out in this weather today and getting us the great shots?
They are the hardest working folks. For us, no question. On the draw, it's Williams. And Williams just chewing up some more time as the Falcons are out of timeouts. Keith DeSantis getting the job done down in the end zone. Keith not looking cold at all, getting those fingers working. Oh, Mr. Detroit right there.
Tats.
That is the hand warming of all. Is that Steely in there?
Is that Steely Dan?
I can barely see him. Dan Steele, who apparently has some eyes under that hat somewhere. But getting you the great shots. Our guy Dobby, Grant Dobbins, who takes care of us in the booth. I mean,
Dobby
does everything. These are the guys who are working so hard for you today, keeping their fingers working in this 20-degree weather.
Phenomenal.
Well done, guys.
And we appreciate you.
Short kick by Scott, and so Atlanta will have it in good field position with 2:37 to go in this one from Lambeau. Don't forget Steve Zajac back there.
Hey, hey.
Now Steve tried to come in the booth a little earlier to get warm, but Steve, it's not warm in the booth.
He's like, what is this?
He quickly backtracked and got and got out. There is Jeff Peel, pride of Milwaukee. Oh, I'm told Madison, not Milwaukee. I got bad information.
Let me tell you something. You get that wrong.
Sorry, that's a big difference.
No, don't get. Kevin Burkhardt said that, folks.
You know how it is in TV, Charles. Sometimes you have to rely on the people who give you the information. Bad info.
Ooh, big hit. The ball looked like it came out at the end, but they declared the play over. Big hit at the end. That was Tony Brown, the rookie out of Alabama. Watch Sanu, makes the catch, goes to tuck it away, and Brown right there knocks the ball free. Yet they called that a catch.
Here's Ryan over the middle, and Ito Smith has a catch close to a first down. They mark it as a first down. That'll take us down to the 2-minute warning from Green Bay, where it's been a Packers day. They are waving to the crowd because it's Green Bay 34, Atlanta 14. 34-14, the Packers in front of the Falcons. 2 minutes to go here from Lambeau Field. Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons, had a good night last night as Atlanta won the MLS Cup. Not a good day today. Flying up here to see his Falcons about to lose their 5th straight game. First down for Atlanta. Ryan complete to Hooper near an Atlanta first down. Charles, a couple other thanks wanted to give. A special thanks to our truck engineers, Scott Fussy, James Picarillo. They have worked so hard this season, and we are switching up our trucks today. That's a term that most of you have no clue what we're talking about. But let me tell you, these guys are here well before and well after we are here. And it wouldn't be here without them. As an injury as it is Hooper who made that catch, who's down.
Thank you guys very, very much for tremendous season, tremendous work.
They tend to Hooper, who's
had a breakout year, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's averaged 5 catches a game. It's 4th best among tight ends in the league.
The next step for him, yards per catch. Came into the game somewhere around 8 yards a catch. He has the capabilities of being a double-digit guy.
While we have this moment, they're tending to Austin Hooper. Let's get another game break with Carissa Thompson.
Thanks so much, Kevin. So Chiefs trailing 24-17 late in the 4th and 3. Patrick Mahomes continues his quest. Next running back, Damian Williams. We are all tied up at 24 and headed to overtime.
Wow, that's a heck of a game, huh?
That young man. Whatever hurdle they've thrown at him this year, talk about Patrick Mahomes, he's pretty much jumped over it, hasn't he? He needed to lead a drive late to try and tie the game, gets it done. We'll see what happens in overtime, but that kid, he's mature beyond his years on the field.
As Hooper limps off and the ball is tipped. Alexander came on the blitz, got a piece. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 1.
Keep an eye on that young man. He's going to develop into a heck of a player. Already having a fine rookie season. Plays with a great joy and spirit, doesn't he? And is not shy about contact, tackling in the running game. Look at him coming on the pressure. Gets his arms up and bats the ball away as Matt Ryan tries to complete one to Ito Smith.
3rd down and 1. Ryan standing in, is going to get over to Smith in the flat, looking to make a move, and he's not going to quite get there. Alexander with another nice play. Mike Pettin told us, think about besides this play, I think the thing that we didn't know, he's got leadership in him. So he's got in front of the room as a rookie corner. He's like, I don't know that I've seen that before.
Yeah, you don't see that very often, but boy, he's exhibiting it.
Falcons going to go, and Sanu on 4th down with a first down, and now it's just all elementary. Clock winding under a minute to go. Packers going to pick up a win with Joe Philbin as their interim head coach. And Atlanta is about to lose their 5th straight. Here's Ryan all day. Now he's just going to hurl it towards the end zone. Little jump ball, incomplete. He was looking for Sanu. Josh Jackson with the defensive knockdown.
Sanu tried to give it a nice basketball box out, didn't he? How about the game we had yesterday, Seton Hall over Kentucky on FS1? How about that? See how he boxed him out, KB? And Josh Jackson wasn't having it. came over the top and contested it.
I love how you actually boxed me out. I'd have a hard time getting a rebound over you, man.
I got to drop some of those pounds that make me a good box out guy.
Second down, Ryan throwing in and out of the hands of Jones. Julio's got 7 for 98, 2 touchdowns today. Couldn't hang on there with 37 seconds to go. The State Farm Game Break is next, and then, of course, Eagles and Cowboys monster game on Fox. And we may have bonus coverage of the Browns and Panthers. Panthers down 6. They've got the ball with a minute left. They're about to lose their 5th straight, and unless they pull off a last-minute comeback. Feel good for that man, Joe Philbin. So his friend Mike McCarthy get fired this week, interim coach, former head coach of the Dolphins, and he's about to get a win. Ryan throws complete. With Julio Jones, that'll put him over 100 on the day. Jeff Nelson, our spotter today. Mitch Smith, Bill Harmon, Nelly is our stat man. Coach Bill and Mitch are spotters, and that's to Hardy into the end zone for a touchdown. Justin Hardy has the touchdown catch for Atlanta. That's his first of the year.
He ends up with Tony Brown, jumps up in press coverage, just goes right by him and gets to the inside, and Matt Ryan spots him and puts a perfect pass on him. And Hardy takes it into the end zone. It may be a cosmetic score, but it still means something to those guys to go out and execute and get it done the correct way.
And Matt Bryant misses an extra point. Matt Bryant is one of the great kickers in the league. He had his first field goal miss of the year today, and he hit one extra point off the crossbar and in. That one is no good. It's been that kind of day for Atlanta. And now it is officially, looks like that game has come, and that is a final. So we'd like to welcome those of you who just watched the Browns beat the Panthers 26-20. Panthers have lost 5 in a row. Here in Green Bay, along with Pam Oliver, Charles Davis, I'm Kevin Burkhardt. Joe Philbin, the interim head coach after they fired Mike McCarthy. He used his 2 challenges the first minute and a half of the game. It was unbelievable. Fastest in NFL history, actually a minute forward technically. But you know what? It hasn't mattered. Even though the Falcons scored on the opening drive, Green Bay went nuts after that. They scored 34 unanswered. Aaron Rodgers has had a good day. Bashad Breeland has an interception return for a touchdown. Aaron Jones had a big second half. And all smiles for Rodgers and company. They had lost 5 of 6, but they played well today.
Love what Pam Oliver told us about asking Joe Philbin about those 2 challenges, and he said, "Hey, I had them. I didn't want to keep them. I might as well use them."
It's an onside kick that is not going to go 10 yards. Could have used a little Atlanta United magic there, but not quite.
Could use a little oomph from the free kick.
This also just final. The Colts with a huge win today, 24-21 in Houston. The Texans, Charles, had won 9 in a row. And the Colts, after their terrible start, are very much in the playoff race, and they host Dallas next week. Can't wait to be on the call for that one.
Remember when you used to roll your eyes when coaches would say, you know, this is a week-to-week league? You know, when you talk to them, you go, okay, here we go again with that. How true has that been in the last few weeks? When you think you've got teams figured out and upsets happen or someone plays a different, a better game than you expected, we're seeing that again this week in the NFL.
You just can't figure it out. Green Bay will take a knee, and that's that. All happy at Lambeau with a 34-20 win for the Packers over the Falcons. Joe Philbin gets a win as the interim head coach here today. And hugs for 2 great quarterbacks with Rodgers and Ryan. And so the Packers find their offense today after a tough loss to Arizona here last week. Julio Jones, a big day in the loss. But it's Green Bay that is, they're technically still alive in this playoff push. They got to win out. They need some help, but it's been a good day result-wise for them. And That will do it for us. For Pam Oliver, Charles Davis, I'm Kevin Burkhardt. The Packers beat the Falcons today. Kurt Menefee and the guys will take it from here. From